Hey, Eric. What's going on, Kawaka? Mostly set here. Let me. Hey, what's going on, Pask? So the goal for today was just simply to get some footage of these very awesome consoles, with and without the mushroom turret on it, and then kind of get it all packed up to sell off. However, already sold, by the way, so this isn't some cheesy way to try to sell stuff. Although I'm not better than that, I absolutely would do that. But these are all sold. But I wanted to share this with everybody just because it's like some people might never get to see what a CDX is like. And even if you already have one, maybe mine's different. I don't know. We'll find out together. But this is one of those things that I just think is kind of fun to hang out with other people. But I was very blunt in the description. So if this is something that's going to bore you to death, by all means, respectfully, please do not watch. I hate wasting people's time, but I feel like my fellow nerds will want to see this. But the first couple of minutes is going to be taken video, which I will do right here so you could see with the same camera that I'm using. And then the second half is going to be playing at least a couple of these games. And if there's somebody that knows how to play double switch, I might even open it. It's sealed, but I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, hopefully you all can hang out and enjoy all this with me. Kawaka, what's something I wouldn't sell? Oof. I have a guitar that's super sentimental to me because it's signed by Bjorn and Jesper from In Flames, Dave Mustaine, John Petrucci, and Michael Romeo. That's a pretty big deal. I always joked that I always joke, but I'm mostly serious, that when I die I want to be cremated and fired into outer space. So I said I'd like that to be cremated and fired with me. That's probably it. But honestly, I mean this is a happy thing. I'm not trying to bum anybody out, but there's been 3 times in my life where I've had to sell basically everything I own because of some crazy stuff that had happened. And the worst one was I ended up selling an original Dave Mustaine Jackson Flying V. And it was the first year. It was model DM057, or serial number. I even remember that. And it was the first year they made them before it actually had that written on the headstock. So after I sold it, I regretted it so much, and I went on a hunt for it, and I found out it was so rare that the people at Jackson didn't even know what it was at first. I had to talk to them and go back and forth, and at first they thought it was a fake. At first they were like, "Hey, sorry to tell you this, but that doesn't exist, so you got a fake." And about 6 months later, they emailed me saying, "Hey, we actually brought that up at a corporate meeting because we want to know if there's fakes out there." And yours is not a fake. Yours is the first year they made it, and that's an original serial number. So I found that out after the fact, and then, so after I sold it, that was like the only thing I ever truly regretted. And in my search to find it, I was able to get a limited edition, 1 of 5, white double neck Dave Mustaine Flying V. And I have video of me playing that on stage at Webster Hall in New York City. I'm playing the Trooper and then one of the songs from the band that I was in. So that was a really long way of affirming a very cheesy statement, in that I kind of let go after that because I realized like losing that first guitar led me to the second, and I would have never gotten the second if I didn't lose the first. So it was just not that none of that stuff really matters to me anymore. People matter to me. Health. I need glasses. First looking for soldering, so that starts to matter a heck of a lot more. See what else we got. Ask, doing a lot of downsizing. Is it duplicates? Duplicates are stuff you're not wanting to use. I'm just seeing a tight spot coming. My house needs a lot of work, so I'm just selling it off now, and not before I need to. Because the last time I had to sell off a bunch of stuff, people took a lot of advantage of that, and backed me into a corner knowing I couldn't say no. So now I'm selling a lot, but if anybody tries to lowball me, I could say absolutely not. Take a hike, and I don't have to worry about that anymore. I don't need it. I'm not desperate. So I'd like to avoid that, so I don't have to do that again. Because while some pretty amazing people stepped up the last time I was broke, so did a couple of snakes that really took me for a couple of grand total. So I just want to avoid that. But yeah, pretty much everything is going that I don't need to do RetroRGB. Astro City is all already sold, not the Sammy. And there's some very, very high-end monitors that are waiting for the right person. But there's at least one of these monitors I think is something that someone who's a collector and a historian would want more than somebody who uses it, because it's the E-Series 1000 TVL 20-inch monitor. It is the best 20-inch monitor ever made, but the difference is very small. The difference is probably better for TV shows and 480i 4x3 content, PlayStation 2, I guess. But it's more for somebody who's like, I want to know that I own this. This is a piece of history. This is a et cetera, et cetera. So I want to make sure that it gets in the right hands. It's not cheap either. So, by the way, if the camera blinks out, it's because whenever I change settings on the camera, it drops signal for a second. So, Beast, what's up, dude? How are you, man? Happy birthday to Beast. I missed his birthday party because I'm a shitty friend. I'm sorry about that, man. I wish I could have been there. Yo, that 3rd grade science fair display box looks sick. I'm on the shitter and the kids are calling me already, so I'm gonna bail. Roger, it's funny, Roger, if you saw what I used to use before I got this Amazon light box, you would be trolling me so hard right now. I gotta see if I still have pictures from the other place, but yeah. Nah, Beast, you're a good dude. You wouldn't make fun of me for that, but you know I miss you guys, and I wish I could have been down there a lot more than I already am. So I'm just gonna chill today. I don't know if any of you all have tried this. This is not sponsored by Mitra 9, although it could be if any of these people wanted to. But anybody ever have Kratom? It tastes like dirt. It tastes like the worst. It tastes like you're chewing the worst tea ever. So some company made it into a dragon fruit flavored seltzer. And I've had it once before, and it was quite mild. But Kratom really is, however your body is at that moment is how it's affected. So that could be interesting. I might get really messed up by the end of this stream. We'll see. All right, let me get the focus in here. All right, let's take some video. So this is some of the behind the scenes stuff I often talk about. It's when you hear about all the hours I put in behind the scenes, many hours are sitting here staring at something slowly spinning. And the reason I have it set to this speed is because speeding up footage is very easy, but slowing down footage drops the frame rate. So so it makes it kind of choppy and weird. Whereas, most of the time I would never have this at this speed in a video, but if I sped it up, you don't lose any detail. King Bill, thanks for the advice on Master System Everdrives. No problem, always happy to help. Calico regrets selling their 83 Toyota 4x4. Oh, I would too. I drive a 2000 Ford Ranger, and I love it, and I don't really want to give it up, but if I ever had to, I would either want a 90s Toyota or an early 80s S10 and just kind of rebuild it. Yeah, Toaster and Beast, I truly think that you're both right. I really like the look and feel of the original Sega CD or Mega CD better, but Beast is completely correct, not for repaired recaps. Ask anybody who works on them. This was fully restored by Cruz, and I think I promised him years ago to never send him a Sega CD1. And technically I didn't. This is a Mega CD one, so that's the last favor I'm asking for Cruz for a Sega CD, because this was a nightmare. Funny enough, Toaster, I also I've really kind of switched to the same perspective. When it comes to original hardware like this, I want them recapped and restored so they don't, so they don't just die over time. However, I play on a mister now mostly. So, sorry if this is going to get a little wobbly. I need to raise this up a little higher. Sorry, everyone. Close your eyes. It's going to get shaky. If you have epilepsy, please close your eyes. I'll let you know as soon as it's done. But yeah, I mean, I've been spending a lot of time on the consoles. Like the Genesis that I'm keeping, I have a Genesis 1 that's fully recapped with, I think Firebrand X did it for me with like audiophile grade caps. It's pretty cool. But I also have a Genesis 3 that's triple bypassed for all the reasons. But I really game on Mister. I want mostly original stuff at home just to like have. And then when I'm doing my gaming, I do prefer Mister these days. Over. All right, one revolution of this, and then we'll move on to the next. Yeah, Beast. So what happened with this one was somebody sent it to me years ago and said they tried to fix it, they broke it, they sent it to me for B-roll shots, and I said, beautiful, that's awesome. And then I gave it to Cruz and I was like, hey, just take a look and tell me what you think of this one. Is it fixable? And he's like, yeah, definitely. And he was not wrong, but this ended up needing a new laser assembly, a new board, a full recap, trace repairs. It cost more than just if I had bought a fully refurbished one off of Cruise. And I think parts of yours are in here to get this working. So this went to, all of the stuff that you see here got sold to somebody who absolutely appreciates it. No scalping. This will probably go to this person's grave with them or get donated to a museum. So this is one of those things where it's, all of the stuff today went to the right person. So, and Cruz would have been working on it for this guy anyway. King Bill, none of the Sega CDs require audio being plugged in. That was a very, if you go to the Sega CD section of RetroRGB, let me drop it in the chat now just for the heck of it here. If you go to the Sega CD section, you'll see that I kind of highlighted where I think it was intentionally vague in their manual, because I think the whole thing about Sega when they released this was they were trying to justify why somebody would spend this much more money on an attachment for a console that they already owned. So I think the whole purpose was trying to make it feel like a piece of home theater equipment, which is why they had the RCA jacks in back, um, as well as even the mixing cable here. I think that was a lot of BS that wasn't really necessary, to be honest with you. In fact, since we're here, why don't I just take a nice little shot of that? Oh, here, let me scroll over. I screwed it up. Here we go. All right. And I should take a moment to make sure this video is actually coming out so I don't have to redo it all. If this is yours, Beast, and I owe you money, let me know. I apologize. I thought this was, um, like parts were swapped back and forth to make both of ours work. But if I screwed up, please, please, please let me know. Okay, video's coming out. That one came out great. Should have used a handheld light on that one, but nope, all these are great. Top shot. Yeah, this is all very cool. Copy that over to my computer. I've never had an SD card die, but I've had a couple of people tell me horror stories about they had, 2 interviews and 40 minutes worth of B-roll footage, and then they plugged the SD card into their computer and there was nothing. It was totally dead. So I'd like to always avoid that. Castlemania, can you show how you have the lights pointed? So funny enough, this is all the all the lights that are built into the light box. I didn't add any for this one, although I do have this thing that I should have been aiming at the front. So I'm just going to redo that one shot one more time, just to make sure that that's a little bit better. But that's it. The whole light box it has everything built in. That's the other reason why I like this kindergarten science fair toy, as Roger so lovingly put it. Come on, what am I doing here? Zoom in to make sure that's in focus. Right. A little too bright, but there we go. That should be better. Yeah, that did seem to actually make a difference. All right. And if anybody wants to see any specific shots of this, like, part of the reason I want to hang out and do it with you all isn't just that I'm bored and want to hang out with my friends. So, like, if anybody wants to see anything, please let me know. Ryan, this is for you here, bud. So you see how on the top the lights are all built in? This is the whole light box contained in itself right here. This is everything. So when that folds up into like it looks like an artist's easel, and that's it. Then everything's kind of perfect. I'm gonna sit the camera down again here so I could flip that back. So I apologize. You could look at an ultra close-up shot of the vents, not in focus. Sorry about that. Just give me 1 second. Whatever happened to Crix working on a 32X replacement? Did he actually tease it on Twitter? Because I think once the 32X core came out, I'm not sure. Like, that could go both ways. That could mean that Crix was like, oh, maybe I could add this core and go from there, so people could do it. But the problem is, you would have to have an EverDrive that had, so let me plug this in all the way. It would have to have a Genesis 2 port, which means it would have to be bigger. So one might say, hey, why don't we actually make a mini 32X replacement, smaller, that has the ports on the back, and you would have to route video through it, and the FPGA on board would have to be powerful enough to do all that, which means it probably would be more expensive than a Mister. So, by the way, this is a VA1 Mega Drive that had the composite bypass, or the subcarrier bypass in. So this should still have composite video and high quality RGB. Not as high as a triple bypass, but kind of high. Hey, Cruz, your work right here. This is you. Get one last shot of just the Sega CD itself, or Mega CD, and then I'll move on to the next thingy. I actually, Jose, believe it or not, I have not powered this on since you gave it back to me. So when we do the power on test and play some games, probably like 20 minutes from now when I'm done taking video, this will be the first time. So if anything's broken, I swear I didn't do it. So what's interesting is if I use my other lens, you know, let me just show you. So you all, if there's any photographers here, you could understand what I'm trying to accomplish and why I would or wouldn't want to use some of these things. But this is a ultra wide angle lens I have now. I love it. After I bought it, not really even a couple months ago, I felt amazingly stupid for not owning it before. That was one of those things where I was just like, how could I have not owned one of these? Let me put this on. Sorry, swapping lenses is going to drop off. So here's what happens if I put the other lens on. So I could move back, and I could get everything in the shot without seeing the sides of the light box, but the focus is incredibly shallow. So Okay. Oh, not only it fell off anyway, but so you could see before, right? If I had it focused here on like the Mega CD letters, that would be fine, and it'd get a little out of focus as it turned. But now you could see how the focus changes quite a bit. So that's kind of why I was using the other lens and figured I would just zoom and crop as necessary. But give this thing a try again. Let me catch up with the chat as well. If I have a Mega SG, hook that into it. I do not have one. What's up, Bubba? What's up, Monkey Man? Well, this is gonna make for crappy B-roll because it keeps flopping around every time the weight distribution changes. But you know what? I'm never gonna be John Linneman or My Life in Gaming, so this is definitely wins the good enough award. Let me at least center it though. All right, so I'll do for one revolution, and then I will move on to the CDX. What's up, Scepter? Mega CD has so many trashy FMV games, but I still love them in a clunky, let's justify using FMV kind of way. Yeah, I absolutely agree. Some hold up from it's nice to look back in time at this point of view. Others don't, and some are just good games. Matthew, step down more and I'll have more in focus. Yeah, but there's a lot more that kind of goes into it too, because I also want the most amount of light with the lowest ISO so you don't get that grainy look. I have been doing this lightbox thing for 7 years now, so I've tried I'm always open to whatever, but I've tried basically all the tricks. Oh, audio's weak? Really? It says it's right up at redline here. Let me... Is this any better? I just adjusted my mic. Maybe that's a little easier. I don't want to turn it up anymore because there's been very often I've done live streams where when I go to check them out later and cut out the opening, then they end up like I hear popping and hissing and stuff like that, and I'm like, what the hell? How's that possible? All right, putting these aside for testing now. Where is, yeah, this thing is just gorgeous. I love this thing so much. There's so much custom about that. I'm probably going to take 2 shots of this just to make sure I get all of its incredibleness, if you will. I don't know. Hold on. Let me get this thing in focus. All right. I will hit record and then explain what this is. So right here is a custom cable from Retro Access. I'm not sure if they ever sold it. I basically begged them to make it like 5 years ago, and 3 years ago they finally sent it over. And then I was supposed to do a 32X video that I ended up putting on hold for a bunch of very valid reasons that I probably should have just done it. So I don't know if they ever sold it, but the look of that is so cool because it's so much more streamlined. That is the custom shroud, whatever, adapter thingy from, did I just put my hand in front when I was trying to take the damn footage? What a moron. Hold on. Let me stop that and redo it. What a dick. Sorry, everybody. So, yeah, that plastic bezel is from Laser Bear, and I will demo that in a second as soon as I could get B-roll shot without my stupid hand in the way. But that actually allows the CD tray to open up, not all the way, but more than enough to be able to put a disc in. So anytime I wanted to use original 32X CD games, that is what I would do. I would use it in this because everything is just nicely streamlined. 2 power supplies instead of 3, and the mushroom turd works slightly better. Hey, Marcello. Yeah, it does kind of look like something from Star Wars. Hey, Babs. Eric picked up a Sega CD Model 2 a few years ago, and it's worked flawlessly. Is it recommended that they get it recapped as a preventative measure? So, yes, but take the time to very carefully take the top off, shine a bright flashlight in, and look to see if things are leaking. If they are, do it immediately. If not, I would still do it. I would just try to plan on as budget allowed, because it's kind of expensive to do that. But one of the things that Jose's been teaching people recently, Cruz, I don't know if you're still listening, but Jose's been posting on social media about different Sega CDs that he's found, that as he started to do a preventative recap, the customer thought that there was nothing wrong with it and said, hey, we hear everybody talking about recapping consoles. Let me fix it. He starts removing the capacitors, and they've started leaking. So the electrolytic fluid is now on the motherboard, but just underneath the caps. But that's still pretty dangerous. So if you have the cash now, yes, I would. If you don't, look into it and see, look inside and see if it's leaking and see how desperate it is. And it's one of those things where, like, I hate to say throw that on a credit card to somebody who has real bills that don't involve, video games. But if this is something that you've already spent a lot of money on, that's important to you, spending that money now makes it seem, or makes sure that that console is going to probably outlast you. So. Hey, W, what's going on? Uh, Sega, have I seen the Model 1 Mega CD Repro mainboard? Yes, I've seen that floating around on social media, but if I remember correctly, it's not out yet. It's just one of those things that's coming soon, but not quite out yet. Am I right? Am I wrong? I don't remember. I'm sorry. Um, I'm just double checking all of the shots that I just took, just to make sure everything came out all right and I don't need to redo them. And I'm deleting the shot where I put my stupid hand in front. Okay, I don't need this. Oh, that actually came out pretty good. Oh, they all kind of came out good. Yeah, that focus is touchy though. That one almost didn't. That depth of field. I don't know. I think let me throw this other lens on real quick and see here. Sorry for the stream going crazy. There we go. All right, so turn that down a little closer. Breathing like I'm doing surgery. All I'm doing is adjusting my tripod to be more to be more accurate. I'm like, okay, scalpel. Right, let me card back in. And once again, if anybody wants to see anything about this, please let me know. Matt, yeah, not gonna be a hand model. Still play guitar like a bastard though. Sort of. I used to be able to. Now I'm just getting old, but all right. Okay, leaving that go. Then I will remove the mushroom turd. Hey, Eric, thank you so much for the super chat. Much appreciated. Scott Linux, is the CDX more reliable than Sega CD? Yes, but this is a very rare console. And if I were rich, I mean, this is going to sound really snotty, but if I were rich, I would own two CDXs. I would own a complete in-box one that I'd have Cruz completely recap, that I basically never touched and I just owned. And then I would have another one that would be my primary Sega CD and Genesis and even 32X. Because I do love it. It is awesome. Sometimes you'll find ones with bad audio channels, so some you might want to do some kind of bypass to. But for me personally, I decided, since this was such a rare piece of history, that Cruise completely recapped it for me, put a new laser in, and the only mod, if you will, is they added, or Cruise added a piece of tape, like a non-conductive tape, underneath the laser assembly, because much like the Super Graphics and some other, in that one Neo Geo model, the plastic will eventually scrape through the board. So that's it. So basically this thing is restored, recapped. The power supply wires are also very finicky, so I might, depending on how it looks, even kind of trim those up a little bit. But yeah, this is basically fully stock, just completely restored. What's that plastic spacer you're using? Dan, that is from Laser Bear. Thank you very, very, very much for the super chat. Let me get you a link directly to this. Greg has got us covered for all of this stuff. Just grab the drop-down window. So I don't know. Yeah, the variant thing works. Here you go. What's up, Red Noah? Right. Am I missing anything? So let me do another demo here, and I'll do a video of this, so my hand will be in shot, but on purpose this time. Okay, let me save the battery. I gotta have to use Night Trap for this demonstration because it's ridiculous and I love it. The only complete collection I had was the 32X collection. That's gone now, but at least I have pictures of it proving I owned a complete collection. All right. So here is what I love about this Laser Bear riser. You go into open, and this could open more. However, it opens enough to fit the disc in to play perfectly. So this thing is very cool. Let me do that again from the other angle as well. So I could, because this is the last chance I'm going to have to take video of these, I want to make sure that I have all of the angles. All right. So I'll do it a little slower. Where's Ian when I need him? Historical nerd, jump on here. Let me have your smooth, silky voice. Open the door to let you peek inside. I can't do it. He's so much better at that. All right, disc. Tower of Power 1/3 scale. Dan, I do have a CDX and a few XIs, but their extra 32X is a little weird as it's picky about the width of the AV and linking cable. One from Retro Access was too thick, but a Console 5 was fine. That is weird, because the ones from Retro Access are great, and they're really good at trying to make sure everything lines up and fits properly. It's possible you had one from a couple of years ago, but from many years ago, I guess. But overall, I've been really happy with their stuff. So here's the only thing, see the open button sticks? Yeah, that's the only thing I would say is wrong with this. Scepter, these are shots I could have just so I could just keep them for B-roll shots, because I'm selling this and a ton of other stuff as well. Brinstar, I love sites like Laser Bear. I got some surface mount caps I may want to have redone, not skilled enough myself. Yeah, you can get the parts from Laser Bear, and then you got to find yourself a good modder to do it. Eric, are there actually good games on 32X? Yes. 32X CD, I don't really know. I like Night Trap for fun sometimes, and I don't know. We'll see. Let's see what else. Good question on the Night Trap remake. I'm not sure. All right, so now I'm just going to demonstrate how to remove this. Wiggle that out. And then I take the entire thing off at once, and I leave the 32X connected to this. And if anybody goes to ship one of these, I would leave this on and then jam bubble wrap all around it just to make this one solid mushroom turd. By the way, this one is also fully recapped, cleaned up, and had all of the fixes done to it. These are already sold. I'm not sitting here trying to convince people to buy it. It's already sold. I'm just giving you a full rundown of what this is and why you might want it or not want it, or do it like this for your own. So one thing, let me lower this down a bit. Check my focus. Oh, I was still recording. Oops. I wonder if I go to access this footage like a year from now and I'm going to be like, who the hell am I talking to? I remember I did this stream. So that's about how high it opened with the laser bear thing on it, and that's how high it opens normally. So really not much at all, and it's just that final click. So there's no functionality lost. In fact, let me, now's the time for my trusty light. This thing. All right, so here we go. Again, so that's the distance for the laser bear, and then when you go up, that is the extra bit. I'll do a spinning shot of this one, and then I'm going to grab a Genesis 3 just for fun. I think I'm going to get 2 shots of this like last time for the same reasons. But let me make this one like the... All right, I'll start with this lens, and then I'll go with the other lens, and then we're way more than halfway done with white box shots. So if you're bored to death of seeing this stuff, please just either come back later or swear at me in the chat. It's totally fine. Vic! Oh, Vic. So first of all, we all know the latest Doom is released because Maddie B was kind enough to do the post and put it out today, and I am very excited about it. And Vic's point, the latest Doom 32X Resurrection is kind of a CD32X game now, since it's able to use both the extra CPU and PCM chip. Well, it's going to be probably 15 more minutes or so, Vic, but you bet your ass I'm going to be showing that on stream when I connect it, because I am excited to try that. In fact, I hate to ask you this, Vic, but if you wouldn't mind DMing me on Discord a ROM if you've got it, so I don't have to waste anybody's time trying to figure out how to flash the wrong ROM by accident, so I could I could start streaming this. The Real OC Gamer, thank you so much for the super chat. These are always so appreciated and absolutely what's keeping this stuff going. Real OC Gamer, can any Mega Modem owners interested in doing a future live stream get in touch on the RetroRGB Discord? So we talked about this on the Q&A, and if nobody ends up doing that, I think I'll just put a tweet out or something. I think Selena would be the person that you might want to ask, to be honest, because she's got the weirdest shit ever. And by the way, if you can't tell that that's a massive compliment, then, you know, you might not want to listen to me because you might misinterpret everything I say. I'll drop her Twitter right in here. I would imagine that she's got it, and if she doesn't, she probably knows somebody that does. So I think that's probably going to be your person right there, but there's got to be other fellow nerds that have that stuff. Have they ever done the Frankenstein Fat PS3 mod? Which one are you talking about? I'm not sure which one you're referring to. Right, popping out lenses. By the way, I know I say this every time, but it is so much more fun doing this stuff, hanging out with you all on stream. So thank you so much for keeping me company with this. It's just way more fun hanging out with all of you while I do this stuff, because I don't know if I'd call this boring, but this is definitely not the most exciting part of my job, and having you all hang out while I do it just makes it cool as hell. I'm probably just a hair off center. Let me drop that here and there. All right, try that. Dan, with the 32X on it, the 32X resembles a bidet in even more ways. That's funny. I love my bidet though. That's probably, somebody asked before, is there something I would never sell? My bidet has got to be second in line, and it drives me nuts. It's got to be the most understood utility in all of houses. I can't tell you how many people are like, "Oh my God, that's gross. You have a bidet, so you like spray your butt?" Yeah, hygiene. I make sure it's clean. Do you? So yeah, sorry for my little bidet rant there, but I definitely am a fan of mine. All right, the focus was kind of off on that, so let me try again with this one and see. Yeah, that's starting to look, that's better. This is the shot I'll be keeping. Vic, I'm not sure if you heard before, but would you be able to pass me that ROM just so I could use the correct one? Hey Babs, has anyone ever made an LCD screen for this thing? No, but they totally could. See that screw terminal back there? That should totally be able to use something like that. So I bet it would work. Thank you, Vic. Much appreciated. I just don't want to waste anybody's time here while I'm messing around, accidentally flashing the wrong ROM or something like that. So it's the mod for PS3 that basically replaces the 90mm RSX with a 65 or 40 nanometer. Sorry, so it permanently eliminates it. No, I had one that I just sold, the CCH-A01, that had a new GPU, and then the CPU was also reballed. It didn't have the capacitor fixed, but it was in otherwise really great condition. So. Bubba, from my experience, other than hot dogs at Carts or Grays, what's the best ultra cheap food to get in New York City? So I am actually not a big fan of hot dogs. I know as a fat guy that's probably shocking, but I just normally would prefer everything else. But the street meat, the halal carts, if you know which ones to go to, and it changes just like all restaurants, but the halal food is ridiculous and it's impossible to get absolutely anywhere else. And even some of the ones in the city are a bit more I don't know what the right word is. I'm going to get canceled for saying this, but it's a bit too white. You really need authentic Middle Eastern food. I am part Middle Eastern, so if you want to try and cancel me, fine. No one's going to believe me anyway. I'm the pastiest person out here, but that I have found some ridiculously good places. One of them was right on Ninth in Hell's Kitchen. There was a couple of them out there that were just so good. It was beyond amazing, and there's nothing I could get anywhere else. And I think the reason is they basically have the rotating meat on a skewer, and they just slice off of it all day long. So it's the freshness, how quickly they go through it, and how it's kind of using the same grill over and over so it gets the flavor. So it might actually be impossible to get something that good elsewhere because it might be the quantity of people that come through is what makes it so good. You would have, maybe a fairground style thing might be able to do it, but it wouldn't be feasible for restaurants to do it like that if they only got, 10% of the customers one day, 100% on the other. But yeah, that's for me definitely it. Let me check the chat real quick. Chicago has better hot dogs than New York City. Don't say that in New York. Better, you're your circular pile of potatoes aren't pizza either, Dan. Simply Austin, Sega since Master System, but never even seen it out in the wild here in the UK. Interesting. All right. Shawarma can be amazing. Yeah, I just like lamb over rice and lamb gyros, to be honest with you. Thanks, Vic. Got it. Also, Vic, I watched that video about moire patterns and stuff, and that's not 100% accurate, that video. One of the problems that we were running into is we also had Jonathan from Scanline City, who has a very expensive professional camera. And when I say professional, I mean like uses it to shoot documentaries and movies, professional camera. And that even required quite a lot of tweaking. It's a lot of things that goes into it, but please keep sending anything over you got. If you think something could help, don't hesitate. I'd rather watch it and go, oh, I already know that, than think I know everything and then miss an incredibly important piece of information. So, you know what I actually think is a great comparison? Check out here. It's smaller, basically smaller than a 32X box, just a little bit thicker. That's a cool shot. Just came up with that. John Lindemann, eat your heart out. I'm kidding. John's awesome, and he's way better at me than this. All right, let me just check this footage before we move on. Yeah, Scepter. Scanline City had the roof cave in. That scared me watching that. They also have a D32. Dan, an interesting fun fact. Chicago has multiple styles of native pizza. Chicago-style thin crust is a thin cracker crust with a spicy sauce cut in a tavern-style square way. Yeah, I like all of the pizzas, but that's not what everybody else on the planet visualizes as pizza. That's a potato circle and a thin cracker crust. Hey, World of Long Plays. I need one of these to do those 32X CD games. Yeah, I would recommend it. It's a pretty cool way to do all that, which we'll do that as soon as I'm done with footage. I just got to double check a bunch of these. Bubba just had lamb. So here, I'm going to piss off a whole other group of people too. So I half of my family is from either northern Greece, Macedonia, and then it all just the Anians, Albanian, Romanian. I'm kind of a Eastern European mutt on one side, and then English and Irish on the other, and then a bunch of other random ones. I guess my family just would randomly bang other people as throughout the hundreds of years. So I'm basically a pasty mutt. But the way my family, the Greeker side of it, cooked lamb was basically like take off one of your shoes and try chewing through the bottom of it. My grandma was rolling in her grave, ready to chase after me with a rolling pin for saying that, but it is unfortunately the truth. My whole life I thought that's what lamb tasted like. And I'm like 23 and I go to have rack of lamb at an Indian restaurant. I have no idea what made me want to buy it. I have no clue, but I lost my mind. I had never, ever tasted anything that good. I didn't know lamb could taste like that. Blew me away, and I've loved it ever since. So, yeah. Tastes and acceptances do change over time. That's absolutely true for food and video games, but just sharing my own experiences. Weird that Night Trap. Oh, yeah. Funny, that comment that you made, I was talking about food, but it also is the same for video games. Night Trap is rated mature on a Sega CD, but teen on PS4. Yeah, things have gotten, the movies and TV have wildly changed as to what could be rated. And it goes in both directions, by the way. It's not like, everything's stricter these days or looser. It depends on the thing, depends on a lot of stuff, actually. All right, that shot came out good. That came out fine. Came out. Well, I got two of them, so that's cool. Let's try. Okay, good. Just checking these. That's without the light. I got one with the light. Yeah. All right. This is all exactly what I've been hoping for here. Great shot, great focus. And then I think these are the ones that I messed up here. Yeah, that's the mostly out of focus. And then I think this is the one that just fixed it. Yeah, beautiful. All right, those shots are done. Oh, wait, there's one more. That is funny. Comparing it to that night trap, that ended up being a fun shot. I didn't even realize was worth taking. All right, I'm gonna ejecting this, and we'll go to the last thing I have to get footage of, and then I will hook this up to the Tink 4K and play some games. I have the I have everything set to 4K. My camera is set to 4K. OBS is set to 4K. The only thing that I think is capped at 1440p is the stream. I think YouTube is actually the one downscaling this. Oh, wait, one more. Look, I got the wide angle lens on. Let's do an unboxing of this thing. Actually, I think I'm gonna do a reboxing of this because I think the gun's over here. Grab that real quick. Yeah, this is a fun bonus. I'm not sure how many people have actually seen one of these before. Yeah. This and also, yeah, all right, I forgot a few things, so a little bit more video to record here, but nothing crazy. By the way, has anybody ever seen this controller before? I always thought this was really neat. This was an official Sega one, so it's kind of like 6-button style, but with the loop of the other one. I enjoyed that one. That was a pretty good controller. I don't know why I don't use that more often. All right, I'll leave that out because we're gonna need those adapters later. Keep checking the chat. Oh yeah, World of Long Plays. This is really, really rare, and they've gotten to be super expensive. But do you see? This one doesn't have anything. I don't know if it ever did have anything, to be honest with you. But this one has what looks like a phone jack on it. This plugs into this, and essentially, whenever it kind of duplicates it, but sends it through the second player. So when I say duplicates it, either one, when you pull the trigger during game, it'll flash the screen. However, and the reason it has to go through one controller port is I don't think it was set up to use two, because what if you both pulled the trigger at the exact time or half a second off? I don't know, that could cause issues. But this ended up working pretty nicely, and it does actually register as a second gun. So this was pretty cool and pretty rare. Let me open this sucker up. Yeah, there we go. Lethal Enforcers, complete in box. Get the manual. And let me raise this up a little bit. So I got the original CD. Oh, perfect condition too. This is basically brand new. Not all television sets are created equal. Our Lethal Enforcers game gun will work with most of the television sets on the market today. However, some older models don't respond to the sophisticated electronics used in this product. If you suspect that your TV isn't responding properly, please consult the troubleshooting guide in the instruction manual, pages 15 to 16 for more details. Here are 3 quick tips to go along with the troubleshooting section in the manual. By turning up the brightness on your TV set, by reducing the amount of light in the room in which you're playing, by adjusting the contrast on your TV set. Here's the manual. Hopefully this is all coming out in focus. That is 1516. So interesting. Problem. Shooting sometimes stops. Adjust the brightness. Leave a distance of about 7 to 10 feet between the justifier and the TV screen. Huh. Interesting. Problem. The gun shoots at a spot not aimed at. If there's a fluorescent light near the TV, move it or turn it off. Oh, alright. Okay. Alright. Well, that's pretty cool. So we will box this up. Alright, we'll get... That's the official blue gun. Alright. Sega CDs, Lethal Enforcers. Was that shot just all arm? Or just my arm just hang over the side? Hopefully it was still decent. Let's directly translated from the deadly arcade hit. That is pretty cool. Well, that's a fun one. Ah, thank you so much for the super chat, Bubba. Much, much, much appreciated. All right, see what So, World of Long Plays, I got 2 Sega Saturn light guns. What if I shoot both of those at the same time? I think that was fixed when the Saturn came out. I think that was a thing from before that where it had issues. Same reason there were no 2-player NES light gun games except the Chiller, the unlicensed one, which is a weird game anyway. What else we got? Cracking up a daisy chaining the Lethal Enforcer gun. Yeah, but it works great. It's the 32X CDX adapter based on an unreleased Sega designed adapter. I think Greg took a look at it, but I think Greg always just uses his own designs and stuff. So Thomas, funny, 32X is not advertised to work on CDX. In fact, some documentation actually says it doesn't work on the on the CDX. However, that is for FCC ratings. Sega didn't pay to have it FCC rated to work with both. So they just said it's not compatible to make it easier to get them out of any potential problems with any kind of licensing or anything like that for not licensing, any kind of like safety regulation stuff. Because that was kind of always a weird thing with them, was everything has to be FCC rated. So a lot of times they were like, well, this product's not even selling, so why am I going to spend the, probably $100,000 depending back then to do that when it just wouldn't even be worth it. So I don't blame them for doing it that way, but a lot of stuff that said, do not do this, it shouldn't work, it was just Sega's way of getting rid of any legal issues so they wouldn't have to pay. But that's not his safety thing. It's not like this would have blown out your TV if you did that. It's not a safety thing at all. It's an interference. So technically, if you had this on while somebody else was watching TV next to you, it could have interfered with that. But that's it's certainly not a voltage or safety thing whatsoever. By the way, the CDX power supplies go for a lot of money. This is recapped. It only has 1 capacitor in it, and it's very easy to open compared to SNES. But yeah, I don't know why. I think they just wanted it to be original. Or people who buy this wanted it to be original. So adding that to the box. All right, one last video I gotta shoot, and then we'll start testing this stuff. The 32X and Exile work, but then you can't open the CD tray. Yeah, that's gonna be a problem. That's why I love Greg's design, where he kind of takes care of all of this. All right, so I'm going to remove this cable and remove the CDX adapter, okay? And I'm gonna borrow the mushroom turd for one more shot. So actually, I should be recording this. Hold on a second. Focus. Okay. That's all there. And then this has had the 32X restored on it. And all that's left is the plug for it. And like last time, this one is angled down and out of the way. This one is angled to the side. Pretty cool, right? I'm just going to take shots of this, and then I'm going to plug it all into the Tink 4K and see how the stream goes. I love it when an adapter is just a piece of plastic. Yeah, I mean, you know, that's it's pretty awesome that Greg's able to figure this stuff out, because it's like a small thing that just makes life easier. All right, get this a little closer. Focus, nice. All right, I'll record one revolution of that, and then I'll grab the other lens, and then I'm going to grab the Tink 4K. Why do consoles prior to Saturn, PS1, and N64 use brick AC adapters? There's actually quite a few technical reasons for that, ranging from putting heat outside of the console to multi-region designs. You could design the same DC voltage motherboard and then just have a different AC to DC converter, so you don't have to worry. And also longevity. If your power supply dies, just toss it in the garbage and buy another one, whereas on the internal ones, you would have to integrate it that way. And the other advantages of that too is if you've ever left a PlayStation 1 plugged in, you might notice it stays a little warm because the power supply is always getting AC power. So I'm not sure why they switched away from that. I think the Tower of Power might have been part of it. I think people were like, this won't even fit on my power surge strip. What are you doing, Sega? So I think that might have been part of the reason. Just people were tired of large bricks trying to be plugged in. But modern technology like the Tower of power supplies, which I'll be showing, I should probably drop a link to that too at some point, but that kind of made it easier. Cruz, I love a fully decked out VA1 Model 3. It just blows me away to see it running all the stuff it's not supposed to. Yeah, well, this is obviously your work, Cruz, and this is exactly what you said. This is amazing, to the point where when I showed people this after the triple bypass, it was hard for people at first to believe that's what it was, because the Genesis 3 actually doesn't have bad audio or video. It's just got mono audio, and you know the video, there's nothing wrong with it. It's not perfect. But you triple bypass it, and you've gotten yourself, you know, basically one of the best Genesis consoles you could get. Also, especially this model that does Master System and Sega CD via ROM carts, not via anything else. But yeah, this is definitely cool. Focus. Not all in shot, is it? Well, let's try that. It is crooked. No, that's not going to work. Pull that back a little bit. All right, let's try this. Oh, so far so good. Yeah, Fickle Pickle Dusty is the one thing that I don't obsess about anymore. That was something that a couple of people had commented on some videos I did, that whatever I was using was a little dusty, and then So the next video, I tried getting rid of the dust, and I used a compressed air thing to get it through the grooves. And then you start noticing scratches, and then you start using plastic polish, and just I started realizing these are old consoles. It's fine if they look 90% fine. Just my opinion, though. Sega sold their own super rare today power strip for using 32X Genesis and Sega CD. Wow, I didn't know that. Zakrawath? I am so sorry. Everybody knows how bad I am at pronouncing names. I've reached out to that developer, and the only reason I haven't done a post on it is because I don't want to half-ass it, and I have such limited time these days that I want to go through, I want to write the post, I want to do a correct, I want to get the right info, but also at the moment, they don't have anything in stock. They're taking pre-orders, which I don't have any problem with that, but the way they're doing it is you have to email them directly and go back and forth, and I just thought, maybe this is one of these situations where it would be better if I just waited until, or not better, but if I have to wait to find some time to do a good write-up about it, it's not the end of the world, because if by the time I get to it they have stock, it's kind of everybody wins type of scenario. All right, let me put this lens back on. All right, and let me just clean stuff up and start getting things plugged in here. I guess the one thing I could do, because I got to take it out anyway, is a very quick shot. Well, verify that the shots worked. I should have done that before I put the lens away. But one shot of all of the 32X CD games. I think that'd be kind of neat. Crap. Yeah, I should definitely grab the other lens for that. Sorry, everybody. Let me get it lined up. But now is the time to take the 1 minute. Not after the stream's over and I gotta reset everything up. All right. That's here. Down. Let me tighten this up too so it rotates properly. There we go. Pull it back a tiny bit. All right, let me you just verify the footage, and we should start setting up the tank. Dan, funny you should mention that. Douglas, do you think RetroTink 4K coming this year for purchase? Yeah, no doubt in my mind. Well, you know what? That's not fair. I've been manufacturing and selling products since 2006 when I joined a company, a small company that did it. I could tell you right now, you could do everything right. And then one day you'll just wake up and get an email from a supplier that says, hey, you know that part you already paid for 3 months ago? We never bought it and they're out of stock, so we'll see you next year. So unless something crazy like that happens, yeah, you're definitely seeing the 4K this year. There's no doubt in my mind. Do all 32X games work with the Genesis Model 3? I think so. I think. Did you have one that you thought might have an issue? I could certainly try that first before I could test the other stuff. Thomas, it's okay if this was just a flex post and you decided not to sell it because it's just too cool. I'll be honest, part of the reason I wanted to do this is because I did want some footage that I could ever go back to if I wanted to reminisce about owning this amazing stuff. But nope, it's already sold. You know what I just realized? Hey, look at that color. So now I really want to double check this footage to make sure I didn't get anything wrong like that. Model 3 has no Sega CD connector. Yeah, however, it will work with ROM carts. So you can never do 32X CD on it, but you could absolutely do all Sega CD games on it via the Mega EverDrive Pro and copying those over. 2 minutes remaining, and I'm just going to check the footage. ABO hiccups. OCD much? By the way, I said that because that's totally something I would think. I'm not making fun of you, I'm making fun of me. I guess maybe I'm making fun of you too, but hopefully you're alright with it then, because I'm also making fun of me. uh, Oh, this is what you meant. Let me drop it in the chat right here. This is the Sega Power Strip. I thought you meant somebody had created like a single power supply that would connect to all three. You literally meant just a power supply. That's really lazy on Sega's part. TD, I don't think that's possible. If it was, you would have to manually solder a lot. Like you would probably have to build yourself a flex cable to go to the bottom as well as the VDP. Then you'd have to run those signals outside. I mean, it's not how I would recommend anybody spend their time. And there's a lot of projects people I know do that are like one of those things that's kind of like, well, why would you do it? Why not? I wanted to do it. This is not one of them. Making a Genesis 3 work with the Sega CD. If you really wanted to do it, cool, but it's definitely not something I would think is something anybody needs at the moment. All right, just going through the footage that I just shot. It'll only take a second. Okay, Lethal Enforcers came out good. Box was crooked, but I could just fix that in post if I never needed to use it. Power supply shots are good. Mushroom turret on the Genesis 3 is good. Rotating shots, nice. One. That came out great. All right, I got lucky. All these shots are good. What about the 32X left to right? A little dark. Well, I could definitely add contrast in post for that, so I'm not so worried. All right. If only the Mega SD supported 32X and 32X CD. So it sort of did through a side adapter. Well, the Mega SD. Hold on, let me try to. I did that stream with Beast actually. Beast 32X. Yeah, here we go. Let me drop this in the chat. So they did have an adapter that would allow it to work. But I think they stopped making it. I wonder what the new ODE is like on Sega CD. You mean Pixels? I am also very curious about that as well. Hopefully I will be getting one of those to test out at some point. And I think that's one of those things. I'm very, very lucky that a lot of people that I know, when new things come out, they buy it and have it drop shipped to me so that I could do a quick stream on it, check it out, and don't have to pay the money for something just to do a quick test or a review. So I think there's quite a few people that would be willing to send me a Sega CD with a broken CD drive in order to test Pixel's ODE on it. I think that's a real no-brainer for people that would want to do that. So I should be testing that as soon as it's out. I will be testing mine in my Philips CDI, Philips CD Interactive Multimedia System. All right, so let me get these. I'll this up over here. Yeah, World of Long Plays. The Mega SD does it with an adapter that's no longer sold, so you'd have to find that on eBay or something. So just to show, all right, it's going to get ultra bright in a second here, but you'll see why. For anybody watching, I know Ryan from Castlemania was curious about this before. So here's how this thing goes down. You hang that part up, you flip this part around, you reach up, and that's how this thing collapses. Power supply is right here. Has little Velcro strips on the side to keep it together. This thing is just absolutely amazing. There's nothing. If you all, I wish I had gotten footage of my setup, my first light box in New York City. You had to pop open the light box, but then I had to set up my tripod lights. So setup was like 5 minutes and teardown was like 10. And as you all just saw, less than 1 minute. That's it. Much less than 1 minute, even with me sitting here talking to you about it. The whole light box is away, and it slid safely inside. So yeah, that's why I'm a huge fan of those. All right, I'm gonna move the camera, so brace yourselves for some shakiness and stuff. And I should use. I think the camera is gonna go out for probably 15 seconds when I swap this. So please excuse that. Right. Bring it over here. Should be back. We'll see. Should be. Yep, okay. All right, that works. ISO is way too high. And set this real quick, and we'll start playing stuff. So did I forgot? Did whoever mention compatibility with Genesis 3 and 32X have a game specifically they wanted me to play? Because I could do that first just to see. There. I mean, this thing's all together, so if you wanted me to test it, now's the time. Pink 4K. So very excited that I'm finally able to comfortably show this live. I don't think Mike would have been mad if I showed it before, but I certainly would have been uncomfortable before it was publicly released, so, or publicly announced at least. That is obviously a prototype case, by the way. It's not gonna, a fancy scaler is not gonna ship, you know, a mediocre 3D printed shell. That's just to prevent shorts and stuff. Focus would help though, right? There we go. Power. You know, I will absolutely try virtual racing just to show. And remember too, the 32X is really finicky. Like even when it was new, but especially now. So let's let me grab those and. All right. That's a great idea to test, and I will be using. You know what? Let me get the link. I'm going to be using the Castlemania Tower of Power, or Rondo Products Tower of Power. Let me drop a link to that in the chat for anybody interested, because this was certainly a huge help. Is this it? Yes. Okay. So. Here is this adapter. Focus. Cruise. And by the way, if anybody wants just a link to all of those good triads, that's that. But the specific Tower of Power one is here. I think I may have gotten the one. I bought this specifically for a Model 1 Genesis, but let's open this sucker up and see. And if I gotta mix and match, that's fine, because I have obviously other power supplies I could be using. So where's the US one? Hey, Koala. Do I get to keep the prototype, or do I have to give it back to Mike? Whatever Mike tells me. And I'm not being sarcastic or anything. I just, if Mike says, you know, hey, keep it, you know, it'd be a cool little souvenir, fine. If he's like, you got to send it back because ABC, also fine. I will tell you, though, that, so Mike and I have no contract. We've never signed anything. I'm not getting paid just to sell anything. I'm not, at the moment, there's still no affiliate links. So everything that I say about the tank is honest. And I'm basically risking my reputation on every time I give a recommendation. So when I say what I'm about to say, I want you all to know this is not bullshit. But if Mike asks for that back for whatever reason, I'm still buying another one. And even if I decide for whatever reason, you know what, I'm going to be a snob and only use CRTs for video games forever, I would still buy it and use it for what it's been doing for 24p Blu-rays on my projector. 24p to 96 hertz is basically a near perfect projector simulation. And even with the slight loss of color detail that you get for doing BFI on a DLP projector like I have, it's still worth it. You know, Koala, funny, you mentioned them, but there are some people in the scene that have been doing that for a long time, and for whatever reason, nobody's called them out on it. It always kind of bugged me, to be honest with you. All right, so funny enough, this is definitely the adapter. The two red are for the Model 1 Mega Drive Genesis and the Model 1 Mega CD. I think also the Model 2. The yellow is for the 32X, but that's for the other one. However, I have the CDX power supply that's more than enough for all of these things. That's what I'm going to use on my Genesis 3. Oh, and Freaking RGB cable would help, huh? Okay. Koala, this is a triple bypass Genesis 3, so it's basically going to be one of the nicest looking signals you could possibly imagine from a Genesis anyway. But you know what? Just to show it off at its best, which is funny because best in quotes because we are still talking about a YouTube stream here. Let me plug the ultra shielded coax, and let me do the original Virtua Racing cart, which I think I had issues with just this cart anyway. So I'm gonna switch over from the camera to this. If you get a dropout, please excuse me. See what it says. Okay, so let me just go into profiles and load default. I don't want any of the craziness from when I was messing around before to mess with the stream and hurt anything. Let's go back. Now let's power it on. See what we got. They did release a Virtua Racing for Saturn. I think didn't hold on, let me double check. I think the Panda covered it. Yes. If you are curious about this, definitely watch this, but I gotta tell you, whenever I see videos that are an hour long, I'm immediately like, no, definitely not. No way I'm risking that. However, Pandemonium's pretty damn amazing, so I would absolutely recommend checking them out. So here's Genesis 3 with Virtua Racing 32X. I'm playing this through an OBS window, but you know. Yeah. So K-Babs, that was basically what I was saying with this is that if you know a channel is worth it, then fine. But if I've never heard of the channel before, I know this is a snotty thing to say, but committing to an hour, I don't have an hour. But if it's My Life in Gaming, Digital Foundry, Pandemonium, Wrestling with Gaming, like there's a lot of channels where I see an hour-long video and I'm just like, well, there's no way I'm watching this on my computer. I'm sitting down on my couch, cracking a beer, and watching this, treating it like if it was a full documentary. So I know this is a stream about the 32X and stuff, but you gotta just give me a second. I've been asking Mike for something like this for years, and look at this. All right, so so let me just see what 12x is out of curiosity. So it's a true integer scale here. All right. This is hysterical. I have to see this. What's up, Wit? Oh, thanks, Henry. That's nice of you. So, let me try something here. I know every time I demo something live on stream, it's always just asking for trouble, but I gotta see. Oh, ultra sharp 10x 320. Try this. All right, so the phase looks like it's off because this is probably not the right resolution game. Let me try one more time. Yeah, I'll go back to the default and I'll scale it like I had, because I think this is probably going to be a little different. But I'm going to be soon releasing an intro video to the RetroTink 4K. I'm sure there's going to be people that are like, why are you doing an intro video when we already know it exists? Because I fucking want to. That's why. So here's what I want to do. So it looks like, let me get this full screen here. It looks like, where are we at? So 1135 fills the screen top to bottom, but it's not a true integer scale, but let's play with this anyway. Yeah, I loved the lawyer video too because there's so much info out there, especially certain types of YouTube channels really want you to know the wrong info about legal stuff. They want you to think that things aren't the way they are so that they can't get in trouble. But so when I talked with the lawyer about a lot of that stuff, it was really great to get that info out there. And whether people choose to listen or not is up to them. But I thought that was really cool. So John, this is triple buffer mode, which is exactly the same as the RetroTink 5X. I will be detailing that in the launch video just because triple buffer mode is perfect for people who who have the least compatible displays. By the way, now I'm just switching over to a true 12X. See what that's like. So yeah, so minimum lag. So we're at proportional. If I just left it at autofill, it's cycling between 0 and 1 frame of lag. If I go proportional and I zoom, it's going to add a little more latency. But I'm also not in the lowest latency mode. I'm in the highest compatible mode. All right, so I'm in a 12x integer scale. I've cut no important information off the top or bottom of the screen. So now this just looks like a widescreen, an almost widescreen Sega Genesis game. This is so neat. I bothered the ever-living crap out of Mike to add a virtual racing profile to the Tink 5X. And every time he was like, how important is this? I'd be like, it's not important at all. I think I might be the only person that wants it. But now I disagree with myself. After seeing how this looks on the Tink 4K and how easy it was to do that. Oh, and by the way, if you get this tweaked out enough, you could just make this into a profile. It's super easy, and profiles are saved as files on an SD card, so backing them up is totally simple. That's cool. Let me see if there's anything else. So let's see if this works, because the last time I did this on stream, the video card. Oh, all right. Well, shit. Never mind. So let's see what we're at now. So now we're at 4.3 milliseconds of lag, and that's including this scaling option that's doing it the way it is. So if you have a capture card and a display that's compatible with most modern ones would be, by the way, this is the latency that you're looking at to do custom scaling in real time. That's freaking unheard of. Oh, wow, Vorange, thank you so much for the super chat. That is really, really nice of you. I appreciate it. And yeah, I love showing this stuff off. I'm happy that I get to now. And now it drops down if you just go to autofill to 2.5 milliseconds. That's pretty crazy, right? I love this. This is so cool. So Koala, what you're seeing right now, 2.4 milliseconds of latency is how much lag that RetroTink 4K is adding. Anything else at that point wouldn't, like, it's all up to whatever else. So let me switch over here real quick. I am using this with Crix's Joyous controller, which has a few milliseconds of latency, but is generally pretty quick. And I'm also using it through the AverMedia Live Gamer 4K and playing through an OBS window. So that's going to add a bunch too. But the other thing I wanted to show since we're here and we're demoing this, regular virtual racing. James, I actually haven't tried it on an HD CRT yet, which is very stupid because I have 1, 2 sitting next to me, access to 2 more very easily. So let's power this on, and I'm going to show you what you're going to see. Yep. That's exactly my point. Sorry for the very stupid joke. Hopefully this didn't hopefully this didn't kill it. So Virtua Racing Original Genesis will not work if you have a 32X connected to it. So let me remove this, because I had to take the 32X off anyway, because this one's going for the this one's going with the CDX. Pop this out. Right over here, 32X. There you go, mushroom turd. Right. So here's Virtua Racing, which normally does not work on the Genesis. Hey, look at that. Oh, Dan, thank you again for the super chat. And yes, thank you for playing into my silliness here. Cruz did this one for me. He magically added all of this. So I am going to, let me check something else. So I know FBX told me do not load these on the firmware that I'm on right now. So please don't be mad at me, FBX. Let me see how this looks. Is it weird? Yeah, my friends already know what to expect when they send me stuff like that. How do I record my TV? With the lenses that you saw me using today, as well as a macro lens. Yeah, that looks terrible. This is not FBX's work. This is my stupidity. Please, please, please don't think that's what FBX did. His work is critical, and you'll see it in the launch video. It's undeniable. But all right, let's go in, scaling, and let's do the same thing for this version. Go to 12. Right? So yeah, it's basically a lot of patience recording the TV screen, and you're going to pick up on everything that you don't want as well. And more importantly, if your goal is to take footage of scanline masks, whether it's on a real CRT or emulation, you have to make them darker, otherwise you can't see them. So then everybody's going to go, well, this is dark and it looks like crap. So it's anybody who does what I do knows that there's no, you can't win. You're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't. Speaking of which, let me do something. Oh, Michael, thank you so much for the super chat. Much, much appreciated. All right, so this one's for you then, Michael. This is going to look really bad on stream, but I want to do it anyway just to kind of see if we could find some kind of fun scanline thing that we could do here. Let's just do this one. This is going to look, oh my God, this looks so bad on my OBS window. I don't even think I should do this. I can't even imagine what it's looking like on stream. Let me put this in my YouTube. Well, no, on stream in full screen, it's not the worst. So I'll keep going, but this is going to be pretty bad. Hopefully everybody watching understands that you can't really do scanline masks on stream, but I want to do it just to see. Linear. All right. So if you're watching and you're like, this looks like garbage, you're probably right. Compression, scaling, because I'm trying to stream in 4K, but I think YouTube's capping me at 1440. What I do want to demonstrate, even if this looks like garbage to you, look at the clouds and look at like what was supposed to be the shadow underneath the race car. It kind of looks like it's cutting it through the proper way. And let me just set it back to default now just to show you. And then we'll get back to testing other stuff. By the way, this is what it's like to be friends with me. You come over and we're going to try to work on something, we're getting sidetracked on 10 different things. So I don't know how any of my friends put up with me, but I'm glad they do. So yeah, so if you look at the clouds, if you look at what's supposed to be all the shadows, the bridge, I think those fake scan lines really, really help with stuff like this. Yeah, YouTube compression, yeah. Well, you know, I also am kind of okay showing terrible scan lines in this situation because I do want everybody to get used to seeing how bad they are. So that way when new scalers come out, from anybody, not just from Mike, but when new scalers come out and somebody shows footage without the warning that I just gave you, and people go, well, that's stupid, that's ugly, you know that it actually is, it's not how it looks. So I'm happy to take one for the team and obnoxiously just constantly remind people that's not what it's supposed to look like, just so that I can help everybody else. All right, so CDX next. What do you think? These were pretty cool though, right? The angled adapter and that. I guess I should get another 32X at some point, but I'm probably never going to use it again. So that cable is just sitting in a box right now, never to be used again, I think. Genesis 3 is going to be displayed proudly though on my shelf. Yeah. When that 32X core came out, I was like, holy crap, I never have to fumble with that mushroom turd again. I can't believe this. And it was a little buggy, but I was like, well, I could still deal with it. And then like a day and a half later, a bunch of bug fixes were posted. That's incredible. World of Long Plays, I'll just watch the stream with my CRT. I don't know if you're kidding or not, but that would be badass if somebody was like, no, let me try it out. I'll see it. Actually, you know what's funny? That would work perfect for the footage. That would probably work well for the footage without the fake scan lines. The fake scan lines would look even worse. However, depends how YouTube would downscale that. So you might actually be watching 4K footage downscaled to 1440p, downscaled to 240p. That might actually look terrible. All right. Make sure that felt weird. Did I bend the pins just now? Nope. It was just properly snug. Okay. So we got 32X, CDX. Let's plug this in. All right, let me switch over and I'm gonna power it on. Hey, what's up, T? Golden Jupiter Studios, I'm not the best person to ask the Xbox questions. You're going to want to check out the Console Mods Wiki or anybody in that Discord, actually. PS3 Inquisition should probably test Slam City. Yeah, sure. Is the prototype pretty big? It's going to be the same size, and it's not very big. I'll show you when we swap. Actually, let me show you now real quick. I finished this thing, by the way, and I'm not feel pleasant. I don't know if anybody's ever tried Kratom before. There's a lot of fake stuff. If you get it at a head shop and you take it and you get a really bad headache, that means you got probably sawdust and some fake stuff. Now I'm switching to sparkling water. Voila, I'll drop a link in the chat again for you. You know, I should just put this directly in the description. But this is right here. Come on, why aren't I pasting? Damn it. Copy. Copy and paste is not working. In fact, my keyboard's kind of going crazy. Hope this doesn't kill the stream. Well, I don't know if it's a battery issue or what, but my keyboard's freaking out right now. Let me try resetting that real quick, but if not, I'm going to have to not post those links and not touch the keyboard for the rest of the stream so I don't mess it up. All right, I think resetting it fixed it. Hey, okay, beautiful. And then I'm going to leave myself notes for this and the POP-PSU links. All right, sorry about that. Daniel, can I tell you about the angled 32X to CDX cable? Yeah, for anybody that's still that heard me talk about that before. I'm sorry for wasting your time, but I'll tell the story again. For the person who asked, by the way, the RetroTink 4K is just longer, but smaller in every other way than your average 32X CD Sega CD case. So it's not big, it's not small either, though. Somebody, oh, you know what else we should do now, real quick? Vic, are you still on? I don't know if you're still on, but let's try that real quick. Larger than a VHS tape. Want me to go get a VHS tape? So also the Mega EverDrive X5 is cheaper, and the one you're going to want to use with this setup, because there's no reason to have Sega CD emulation on this because you can't. So being able to do this is like save money on that, and then use your Sega CD and 32X games as discs. Okay, fire this up. Works. Vic, if that's the case, then I could just play it again at the end. But hey, you know, there's nothing like beta testing in front of a bunch of people live on stream, right? All right, I will, and real quick before I power on, just because somebody asked and stupid stuff like this makes me giggle. Grab. I found a couple of these VHS tapes for like $1 that I thought might be cool to watch one day. Just because, anybody remember that show? I always remembered, even as a kid, so yeah, it's a little bigger than a VHS tape. I remember watching that as a kid, and I remember one episode where all their batteries were running out, so they found some magic crystals and wired them in. And even as a shitty little kid, I was like, so the magic crystals run at exactly 5 volts? Like, are you serious? Who would believe that? I'm a kid and I don't believe that. Yeah, always an annoying ass. All right, powering on, flipping it over. All right, so World of Long Plays, I was annoying as shit. Looking back, I wish I could have. I wish it was easy to see video yourself the way it is today, because I think once you see how you act, it's interesting, like your perception of yourself. Very glad I calmed down. All right, Vic. So you're right. It probably won't work through that. So let me try it without it in a. You know what? Let me just try it without it. Here, let's do this. You're nice enough to hang out and stream, so let me just take 1 minute to show everybody what I'm doing. So I'm taking the 32X off, plugging this directly into the CDX. Just going to transfer the. Oh wait, no, I couldn't do it because it's 32X. What a moron! Sorry, everybody. Maybe that Chrome's kicking in harder than I thought. But anyway. Let's get this plugged in. Wrong one again. Maybe I am high. So let's just fire up. We got Supreme Warrior, Slam City, Night Trap, Corpse Killer, and Fahrenheit. Let's do Supreme Warrior. Why not? We just want to the last things I have to do on this stream is just to verify that the CDX, the 32X, and then the Mega CD and Sega CD combo, or Mega Drive combo all work. Open. Power on. Let's see. Felipe, that's like saying, what's better, a Phillips head screwdriver or a flathead? It's really impossible to give, and I'm not trying to be a dick, I'm being honest. It's just, what are you using it for? You know, if you're using it to line double on a CRT, save some money, get a GBS control. It does what about PlayStation 2? GBS does motion adaptive deinterlacing. But what about tons of other stuff? Well, the OSSC would be better. So there is absolutely a use case for a lot of this stuff. By the way, I'm turning up game audio now. I'm not going to be able to hear it, so you all are going to have to tell me if this is going to work or not. Yeah, T, I failed miserably with the scan lines before, so I'm not doing that again. But if I were just watching this on, you know, playing this game at home, not on a CRT, it's exactly what I would do, yeah. Oh. No, we're good. Is the audio good, everybody? Felipe, using it for 4 and 5 gen consoles. So if you're using for a lot of 480i content, GBS control because of motion adaptive deinterlacing. If you're not using a lot of 480i content and you're going out HDMI, then the OSSC. I turn up the volume, everybody. I feel like I need to turn the sound on, but it's going to echo. Let me just turn one speaker only on and hope for the best. Is that better, T? I just got kicked in the face. Oh! You know what would absolutely make this game better? A Wu-Tang Clan soundtrack for it. No doubt. Bad. World of Long Plays, yeah, you do, because it's so bad. But like, it's so bad that like, if you really get into this and you really start playing it, especially if you're playing on a CRT but you're streaming on you know, in digital like this, you could, like, it's a fun experience. But I don't know, like, for, you know, for World of Long Plays, I think that would be awesome. But for your average person who just wants to experience the game, I don't know, maybe try to fire up an emulator. You can't use it on Myster though, because I can't do 32X CD yet. All right. One thing I do want to show. I know this is cheesy. I know, but come on. That's neat. I know it's dumb. I know, but I like it. So. Focus again. So, Vic, should I try it again on this setup, but with the other EverDrive, the Mega EverDrive? If you're still on, Vic. Koala, no, this is completely stock. And since I'm gonna be trying this again, here, you know what? Let me do one thing. That was, let me show you the box. Supreme Warrior. I know this is so dumb, but I want to, I just want to do a video of this for social media. I don't know why that's so much fun, but I think that looks neat. Thanks, Vic. I will do that right now then. I will throw that on so we could try it. How much can I fiddle with picture when using the freeze frame feature? K-Babs? You might jump through the internet and slap me in the face for saying it, but I've only used it once by accident. I didn't actually use it. I know, how messed up is that? That's one of the features you'd think I would probably try to use all the time, but I don't know. I don't know why. All right. I'm just being very careful to keep these cards separate, so I don't. All right, so I'm putting the EverDrive X5 over here with this, because that's where it's going to go. Let me add that file to the Med Pro. Get those TikTok likes. Funny. TikTok has been completely useless. Somebody, with a very good heart, no shade being thrown, but somebody was explaining to me how it would be very important to post all of my weekly roundups on there as well with the right hashtags. So that's why you see those fancy tweets going out where every time it happens on Wednesday, and it has been useless. Word of the long plays, if you don't have a 3DO, Fixel's optical drive emulator is plug and play. Actually, you know what? I mean, we're right here. I'm sorry, everybody. I keep sidetracking. Regular viewers of my live streams completely and totally are used to my squirrel. So this is a prototype. I have the final cable right here, just to let everybody know that's what the final cable looks like. But this is a box that plugs into the back of any 3DO, any standalone 3DO console, and you put your SD card in there, and that is a plug-and-play optical drive emulator. And I think it's so important, because what if you get yourself a 3DO, and everything's going great, and all of a sudden your 3DO stops working? Buy another 3DO, plug this into it, or go have it repaired, or something happens where the internal ones are cool, but it's just harder. Yeah, if you, I'll drop a link in the chat to that for you. I believe they're in stock too. Let me here. Oh, ships in 1 to 2 weeks as well. That's pretty cool. Zacharath, yeah. So there was an update a while back on that. Oh, here we go. There was an update a while back. The original manufacturer that he had paid to make those boards screwed up. So he ended up eating a lot of cost and having them remade again. So he was actually supposed to ship those HDMI boards to the testers in January and to the public shortly after. So all of those delays are really crappy, but like I was talking about at the beginning of the stream, if anybody's been sitting here this long, that there's absolutely no, oh, uh, there's no way to guarantee nothing's going to go wrong whenever you manufacture something. So I got no blame towards Fixel for that. Well, I guess I can't do it on this, huh, Vic? I could certainly try when we go to test the other one. And maybe that's what we're going to have to do right now, actually. All right. Oh. Yeah, Vic, I told you. I warned all of you. I am the breaker of everything. My old boss used to always tell everybody, you think your product's solid? Send it to Bob. He'll break it. And not even in a mean way. He meant that, like, I both got the bad luck, but I also put things in odd scenarios. Like, how many people have a 32X going into a CDX to do this stuff? But unless anybody else has something they want me to test on the CDX, I was going to put that away because we have proved that it is working. It plays 32X CD games no problem. And my friend who's bought that off of me has a completed and absolutely awesome setup. The only other thing I don't think I showed before that I want to show now is just Greg's attention to detail. That, am I in focus? Enough, yeah. So that's the AC plug. I don't know. I think Greg just did an amazing job on this thing. So unless anybody really has something they want me to test on that, I will switch over. So let's test this one at a time. Oop. So where am I going to put this? All right, right here. I'm going to start with the Genesis, and we can test the new Doom thing as well. And then the Tower of Power PSU, I should just be able to use that. Now I'm interested to see what I'm going to need to use for a video cable here. Let me, because I also want to, if we have time, I could also test out Todd's cables. Well, I actually like the other one. I like the high definition graphics US version best. I don't know why. Might be because I grew up with it, but definitely my my preferred. So here's an adapter. I hope. Let's see. Is this the right one? I really hope that Retro Access still sells these, but they made a custom adapter for me that has everything you need, including the power pins. Which is the only way to really get every single signal transferred over. But over the years, I've given so many away. Let's just start with this one and see. Because there's always a friend of mine that's like, oh, I'm doing this video. How do I do this? I'm like, oh, just take this one. I'll get another one. And then I'd forget to get another one. And y'all know how it goes from there. So this is my preferred way to set up a Genesis Model 1. The only exceptions are if you have the triple bypass and you replace the DIN. But if you know that you're never, ever, ever going to use a 32X, just buy a standard Genesis 1 cable with the adapter for the audio. But as you saw before, Virtua Racing doesn't run with the 32X plugged in. Master System games don't. And if that's something that's important to you, you're going to have to remove the 32X. So that means you're either going to have to buy 2 RGB cables or component cables to swap between them, or get this adapter that has everything built in. So that's why the adapter is cool. But if you don't get the right adapters, it doesn't have 5 volts or composite video. So then you can't use HD Retrovision cables or the Rad2X. Let's fire this up. See what we got now. Does it work? See, this one has your subcarrier bypass on it. Not getting any signal, are we? Oh, we are. Okay. Let me drop that in the chat as well, so that people could get a little more info on what we're talking about here. So we could try this. Oh, no. X. I'm a moron. I just did that again. Hold on a minute. So what I actually would like to do, did we fix the audio? Did we? I don't know. I don't remember. But, yeah, let me throw the 32X on this so we could test it then, and then we'll kind of go from there. I also want to test to see if that adapter has composite video so that we could, at the end of this, finish testing and move on to Todd's thing. I brought my Mac down. Oh, but my Motu interface is connected here, so I wouldn't be able to do it live on stream. Damn. Well, we could at least show Todd's cables working, and then I could post the MD4A results after. Did you do that yet, T? Did you MDF these things? Wow, that's pretty funny, Vic. Well, I broke it. I broke it on multiple different setups. Sorry. My apologies. So let's test Composite then before we jump in. And let me just put the 32X back the way it was and not bend any pins doing it. Right. I don't know what to do for shipping. I think, let's see, the size of the box. I don't know if it's safer for me to ship it like this and wrap around it, or to wrap that 3D printed piece individually. Certainly something to consider. I'd probably just do it individually, but let's grab Todd's cable. And actually, let me just grab an existing cable that I've done a bunch of testing on to double check here. So, all right. Now, what everybody wanted to see when using the RetroTink 4K composite video testing. Oh, Vic just said the firmware on my Med Pro might be too old. That's very possible. Sorry about that. Where's the all right, off. Bark King, you're very quickly getting yourself banned here. The 32X could have been purchased at one time for very, very cheap, especially when it was. Oh, so that's not going to work. Wait. Interesting. Why isn't sub here? If this, wonder why this isn't working. Let's try this again. All right. I just probably didn't have the. Oh, that's weird. No, but I know exactly how much it cost. But saying it's for spoiled rich kids is a douchebag thing to say. What if you picked one up on sale? What if you worked all summer long mowing lawns and doing whatever you could to save up your money because you thought it was going to be the next best thing you could possibly have? That's actually what I did to get a Sega CD. I worked my butt off all summer. And my neighbor in Bridgeport scumbagged me and didn't even pay me for half the lawns I mowed. So I lost like $100. What kind of like I'm in my 40s now. What kind of 40-year-old piece of shit scumbags a fucking kid? That's like I was 11 years old or 10, I was 10 years old. Like, come on. Yeah, weird. I don't know why composite video is not working on this. The person that's going to is not going to be using composite video. I can guarantee you that. But I wonder what I did to this thing. Or maybe it's just this cable. Or maybe this is a Neo Geo cable and I accidentally put it in my Genesis box. You never know. Let's go connect now. You know, I how funny would it be if we actually did something like that and then we get there and the guy was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. Like, I don't remember any of that. You should have knocked on my door more if you needed the money. All right, let's try this again. What do we got? Okay, that cable that I just used is going directly into the garbage. I don't even care if that was meant for a Neo Geo. That is definitely not something I'm going to hold on to. Then, actually, you know what? Before I toss that, let's take a look together. The bottom one's the bad one. If they're both U-shaped. Yeah, this isn't the C and D, right? They're both shaped about the same. This one's just garbage. So we know the composite video works on this. Or what if he moved and I was mowing lawns for no one? No, I saw him there. He was he used to do graphics for shows like Star Trek: The Next Generation, and he showed me his rig, and he had, he would work from home. Big fat guy, fatter than me. And for anybody that hasn't seen me on camera, I'm fat, so I'm allowed to talk about fat people. Don't cancel me for talking about myself. But yeah, I mean, he did work a lot. I can't for the life of me. As hard as I've worked in my life, and as much as things that I'm supposed to be remembering just escape me sometimes, how could you forget that 10-year-old that mows your lawn that was like 4 feet tall before you had the kid do it for you? You forget to pay him? All right, so let's try this adapter and see, do we have composite video? Should have mowed his own lawns for the cardio. Yeah. Okay. So this does have composite video pass through. So now we'll test Todd's cable. And I want to use that to play some Sega CD FMV games, or one game at least, just to see. On a CRT, I know it would look better. Through a scaler, probably not. But you know, why not? All right. I'm having trouble getting it in, Todd. Oh, there we go. The pins were just slightly askew. Right. Yeah. Sorry for the shoulder shot, everybody. One just. Funny, Dr. Claw, the front port on this one, I think I broke the composite video port. So they will be working, but I think I broke that one. I'll tell Mike later. If he's on stream, I'm sorry, Mike. All right, well, Todd's cables work. We'll do the we'll do an MDF comparison of it. So, but for now, I saved this for last because I'm nervous. Cruz, I don't know if you're still on, but this is the first time I'm powering this thing up. I put Cruz through hell for this thing. Everything about it. Every time one thing was fixed, another thing broke. I have the worst luck with this stuff, and I hire him to fix all of it, so I feel like one of these days he's going to accidentally delete my number. Todd, of course it works. Right? Actually, I have the cartridge in. Haha. All right. We got lights. We got lights. So I think on this one, tap reset. Right? Is that how you eject it? All right, let's switch it over. Okay, I'm switching back to this view just because I want you all to see something that anybody who now has a Sega CD or a Mega CD, you'll know why this is important. Then I'm gonna hit the button. You see how smooth that is? It didn't bounce back out. Ah, it did bounce back out. Ah, shit. All right, well. Close. I did jinx it. So I'll power it off. I'll just power it on with the game in it. See what happens. It's spinning. Hey Mobius, are you selling any more of the MSD EXP adapters or anything like that? A few people were asking about it earlier. If you are, or if you have extras, you should talk to World of Long Plays because that would be something that they could probably use. I hear it's spinning. Probably just taking a moment. Yeah, that's kind of frozen. The access light was on. Oh, on the Mega SG? Yeah, it should, right? If you had a 32X plugged in, and that same link, Greg's got a 32X adapter for the Mega SG, you would have to have a Mega SD, a 32X, and the side adapter, and the DAC, though. So it actually might just be easier to get. Yeah, exactly. You got it, World of Long Plays. So, yeah, you would probably just be better off getting all original or something. All right, so when in doubt, off, reseat everything, just in case. Both the power connected, everything's nice and snug. Tap, tap. a very good chance this is one of those things where, like, all I have to do is tap it and it'll start working. It's spinning still. Oh, here we go. See? Beautiful. Nope, 32X CD games are just the CD. If you have the cartridge in at all, then it can't. Oh, are you serious? I don't speak Japanese. Does anybody know how to do this? Son of a bitch. Are you serious? I do have the multi-BIOS installed. Yes. So was it reset? Oh. Echo, sorry. This is actually my first time ever even using a Mega CD. Do you tap reset to eject or hold reset? And let's just go down here for a moment. These lights are different than the ones in the US. Let me lower my tripod here so you could all see. Kind of neat, right? Boba, I don't have a Sega CD. I'm selling all this stuff. That's why I got rid of everything, unfortunately. So is it just simply a stuck tray? Is it one of those things where all I have to do is just nudge it? I've definitely seen that before. My Laserdisc player is like this. If I just put the slightest bit of pressure, by the way, I do realize I was using a little pocket knife, but like I wasn't. I was putting the slightest little bit. I have this plastic thing. I don't know. Growing broke, world a long place. That's pretty much it. RetroRGB doesn't exactly pay very well, and I used to be pretty proud of helping people and doing it basically for free, just for the the notoriety, and hopefully that would gain me more subs. But recently I realized that it probably was a mistake, because that stuff could backfire. And yeah, certain drama recently has made it very clear that I should have never done that, and I should have probably just continued doing development work for bigger companies and don't have to worry about selling stuff. But such is life. I love all the work that I did do. I love being able to test stuff like this. This is just such a game changer. And to be honest, you're all pretty freaking awesome too. Oh God, it's a Voltar. Ugh, here we go. Do you even have power in Kentucky? I thought you all were so poor you can't even keep your lights on. If anybody that's listening and they're living in Kentucky, I'm not talking about Kentucky. It's an inside joke. Actually, Zach, if you're going to be here and make yourself useful, there is a fully rebuilt Mega CD that was working perfectly, except it won't eject the disc. And I'm just trying to coerce the disc out. It works, it loaded, and the only other problem is I have to format the memory, and it's in Japanese. So I don't know if I'll be able to do that. I'm going to try to use Google Translate, but is there like, can I hold it up with reset and have this eject? Do I just like very, very carefully just kind of massage it a little bit? This was rebuilt, and I think a new gear was put in, but I also haven't powered this thing on in 6 months or something, or whatever it was, since I got it back. Like, it'll work, Maybe I could do it this way? Will it... For fuck's sake, it worked perfectly. If we all look at that. All right, listen. Anybody here speak Japanese? Because I'm going to have to go to Google Translate, if not, and try to do this. Sorry for the pause. Autocorrect just killed me again, and I just I just wanted to make sure I told my wife something. The other day was the funniest though. My friend sent me a text saying, "There's a new pierogi place open. Have you seen it?" And I said, "No, I haven't gone yet, but I love pierogies." And autocorrect corrected that to a word that I've never texted in my entire life. Autocorrect said, "I love peepholes." I just was like, what? I hit send, and luckily it was a good friend, and I was like, oh my god, autocorrect, and he was like, you know, I'm screenshotting that, right? I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm forever. I'm gonna be seeing that. All right. Let's see. I just got Google Translate up. All right. Please push the button. Initialize. Yes. This is mind blowing. Google Translate's pretty incredible. Wow. Very, very, very cool. Hey, Voltar. Yeah. I was gonna try composite video, both to test Todd's cables, but also to check out FMVs and stuff. All right, so now that we have it initialized, open, I should probably just switch back to RGB so we could see Sonic CD and its crispiness. And then I'll go back to composite when we try an FMV. If we have time. If not, if I could switch over to audio from my camera, it'll sound really, my voice will sound terrible, but then I can grab the Motu to try to do MD Fourier testing on that. Hey, I'm sorry, I forgot. Well, I'm pointing at the camera so if you could see, and I'm in the wrong thing. What an ass. I didn't see your response before. Did you ever have a chance to MD Fourier test it? Okay, let me just power cycle. A zip file of video footage by no later than last weekend. I have got about 50 terabytes worth. No, 50 gigabytes worth. Already working on it. And all of these Sega CDs. Yeah, it's back to RGB, but come on, spin up. No, you can do it. These things did not age well. This thing is fully restored and still giving shit. Yeah, Phoenix, it absolutely is. And that's not at all throwing shade to the RetroTink 5X. It's just very simply better. But I mean, like, why would Mike release a product if it wasn't better? So, of course, it's going to be better. So, my Sonic CD game is in decent condition. Let me see. Let me try the 240p test suite. See if I can get that loaded. If not, I would be willing to bet that this thing's working fine. I just need like a I probably just would need to pop it open and spray some air, compressed air, because Crew spent so much time on this thing. It's not going to show much difference. So is it worth me testing it here, or should I just pack up and kind of get the stream winded down? Yeah, hardcore, since you didn't see it before. Oh, that's 9x scaling, my very favorite, by far, 10x scaling. This is exactly like my video on 1080p 5x and why it's better. It's the same thing. It's just this now. Well, oh, well, this is a very scratched CDR, so. Anything else I should try? I have a feeling this is just going to need a quick disassembly and tweaking. I got, of course, Sonic CD. I really do like this game. I know so many people joke about it not even being a good Sonic game, but I think it's up there with Sonic 2. Sonic, the first Sonic will always have like a special place in my heart, because that was the one that's just like, it really, if you didn't like sports games, you wanted a Genesis after seeing Sonic. I actually did like sports games and other stuff too, but yeah, that was definitely one that was everybody wanted. This game, Rise of the Dragon. So there was a Blockbuster video near us, and Cousin Scott and I, for like 3 weekends in a row, I would ride my bike to Cousin Scott's house, which was like 45-minute bike ride. I wasn't fat that one summer. And then we would call Blockbuster Video and ask if they had this in stock. And they said yes. So we would ride our bikes the 25-minute ride to Blockbuster, and they wouldn't have it. And 3 weeks in a row we did that. And finally, on the third week, I was like, listen, this is the third time this has happened. Are you guys messing with us? Like, hold on. They're like, no, it's right here. They lost the box on the shelf, but they always had the game in it. So we were able to finally rent the game and play it. And I haven't played it since then, but as a kid, it held up. No doubt in my mind. Does it hold up today? Hey Babs, your problem with Sonic CD is that it's too much effort to time travel. I agree 100%. I never did. I always just, I would always end up just playing the game and not even worrying about that. Try start and a button to open the tray. Yeah, that worked. Wow, you haven't had that much exercise since that summer. No, there was actually, I was always a fatty, but there was 2 summers that I got thin. One was between middle school and high school, and the other one when I was like 21, 22. And that's when 2 different friends who did not know each other pulled me aside and was like, listen, they said it in their own way, but they were not pulling punches. They're like, your head is way too big for that skinny body. Either powerlift or eat some donuts, but you just look like a giant bobblehead right now, and you still have a double chin anyway. So what's the point of being that skinny? You don't look good. So I'm sure this is still too fat, but yeah, hopefully there was a happy medium I could have hit at some point. All right, let me disassemble it then. Let me just get this checked out. I also have a sealed copy of Double Switch, but I think my friend already has a sealed copy of Double Switch. Do you know, does anybody on here want this, want to trade, want to buy it? My friend said he would take it anyway. I think he'd probably just trade it to somebody in the same scenario, but if I could save him some trouble. Doctor says I need to get in shape. Round is a shape. Zach, I laughed about that for like 2 whole days. So, all right, while I'm getting this open, I'll tell the story because it's actually kind of a fun experiment. I watch Guga Foods, Sous Vide Everything. I don't know if anybody is familiar with the channel, but he used Wagyu beef fat to make other stuff taste more expensive. And I thought it was a really cool idea. So I got basically a tub of it for like 30 bucks, and you just use it whenever you need to add fat to a meal, which I actually don't very often. I normally use a little bit of butter, but so what I ended up doing was instead of getting 80-20 ground beef for burgers, I got like 96% and then just added a tiny bit of the Wagyu fat to it, essentially manually making it an 80-20 burger. And it worked. It tasted delicious. It tasted way better than whatever garbage, ground meat my supermarket had. So I was talking to Voltar about that, and I was like, this thing's gonna last me years, because like I don't even use it that much. Does fat go bad? And without missing a beat, like I was still saying the word bad. He's like, no, you've lasted this long. Should be good. I've laughed for days about that. That was so fucking well placed. Oh, brutal maybe, but I love it. Oh, that's right. I still have the 2 screws on the side I always forget about. Yeah, Ed, one of the things that I decided years ago, actually right about the time I started RetroRGB, is don't drink calories unless it's beer or alcohol for me. Because it's, I was drinking soda, or I was drinking stuff at least once a day with like 250 calories in it. And I'm just like, what a waste. Diet soda isn't good for you, but I'd much rather just save that for beer. Hardcore, I hope not. I hope this is just a very simple adjustment because my friend is expecting a perfectly working Sega CD, and I really needed the cash. So hopefully this is a very simple thing like I think it's going to be. All right. Okay. I am being super slow and careful with this, by the way, because Cruz spent a long time rebuilding this thing. All new caps. Everything else looked like it came out great. So, Zach, where's the switch that you recommend replacing? I'm gonna have my friend swap that out when I send it to him, because that's pretty easy and I'm sure he can handle it. But by the time he gets it in the setup and test it, a new battery would have gone bad anyway. Under the drive, huh? All right. Boba, I don't advertise eBay, and I also try to avoid eBay because 1 out of every 10 things I sell is a scam. Somebody will try to return it, say it was broken, and luckily I take pictures of everything or do streams like this, so if people end up buying it, they can't exactly say I didn't prove that it worked beforehand because everybody saw it working. But the stuff that I have left over is very expensive. It's like super high-end RGB BVM monitors, or it's basically not eBay stuff. It's stuff that an enthusiast would want, not your average person scrolling through. All right. Yeah, Zach, I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little scared to do this, but we gotta get it done. So this is not gonna be like that time where you helped me to fix a Sega Master System and I made it worse and then blamed you and yelled at you. I did that, by the way. I apologized many times since, but you know, sometimes I'm an asshole and I wish I wasn't. That actually happened just like that. Which is by the laser pickup. Okay. World of Long plays, if you want a CRT for light gun games, any CRT, even one with an RF input that's kind of on the bigger side, so 27 inch, 32, it's going to be an amazing experience. I would need to eject the tray. Okay. Isn't the thing like right here for that? Isn't that just this right here? Ugh. The game booted when I first tried this thing, so. Oh man, it's been so long since I've used one of these. Where's the eject mechanism on this? I thought it was that thing right there. Be quick to listen and slow to speak. They get you out of a lot of trouble. Yeah, you know, good advice. I'll try to take it someday. Ed, that A6000's awesome. I absolutely love it. The only downsides was no 4K 60, and if you're recording video, it's got that 20-minute lock. Carefully connect a Genesis to it. Gotcha. Thank you. Yeah, World of Long Plays. That's the. It sounds like you should just try to find the service menu of that one first, if possible. If that was the case, you should be able to just tweak the overscan so it's not as brutal. Sometimes it's easier said than done finding service manuals for these things. But yeah, that's a very easy and free way to do it, especially if you already have a off. Especially if you already have one with all the inputs that you were looking for. All right. Okay. All right. What am I looking for now, Zach? MEMS laser projection. Aren't those like the $3,500 projectors? Long metal flat tab that bends over and makes contact. Let me. Take the top spindle off. Oh, for fuck's sake, this is getting scary, Zach. I need a smaller screwdriver. What's up, Stu? Other screwdriver should be right here. Okay. Wait. Okay, I got you. I'm not doing anything. I was just about to unscrew this top part, just those 2 screws, and remove it, nothing else. You ratted on me, T. Bottom left corner of the disk tray on the side that closes. Do I see that little square indentation built into the tray? Yes. Onto the tray itself, yes. I'm assuming that you mean that thing right there. When the tray closes, it pushes the limit switch. There's a plastic piece here that looks like it hits. I'm being patient, Zach. If you Hey, Mr. Pete. Oh. Why, hello, Zach.
God damn it. Now listen.
Okay.
On that tray, cut out in the tray. And
Let me just take the top thing off. All right, let me just take this top piece off because it's not gonna. This isn't getting too dangerous. This isn't getting to the part where I remove the gears. Okay. I believe they can, yeah.
God damn it.
Okay, so let me there's gonna be a delay because of the stream, but where's my light? It should have shown up on stream anyway. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I don't see. I actually don't see what you're talking about. And would it be we're in this assembly? Refresh the stream because I've been doing this for a couple of minutes now. Is this thing closer towards the AV ports and back, or is it closer towards the front where the lights are? sure. Let me do this because this might be better. Oh, right, yeah, okay, yes, yeah, I could. You use that to remove it, right?
Yep. There you go. That's it. Yeah. You can use there. Ejects. And
You know, now that you're saying all this, I vaguely remember being at my old Brooklyn office and doing exactly this and fixing that Sega CD that I had the problem with there. Um,
fan tray. And that
I said I would never even own one again after that last time, and I don't know what made me get excited about this, and made me force poor Jose to, to rebuild the whole thing again. But yeah, it's all right. Yep, I just want to get the video cable in just so we can see what's going on. That nice and safe here. And by the way, I have Zach on speaker and turned up as loud as it'll go, but this is just going to be way easier than messing around. Okay. No, I'm people who are on the chat who have a hard time hearing you. This is unfortunately as loud as it's going to go. Okay, so open, close, and let's see what happens here. It's definitely spinning. And there we go. But I bet you it's going to give me the error again because I unplugged the power. No, awesome. Let me slap this thing back together. All right, so that's not only thank you for reminding me about all of that. This is actually excellent news because this is going to have to be shipped, which means there's an excellent chance that's going to happen again. But if all my friend has to do is unbolt that thing, then and put it back on, I mean that's so easy. If I could do it on stream in front of all of you, anybody could do it. We're fine.
there's a gear in there that refurbished and everything back up. coated with not a spray. Don't ever use a spray, but a lithium.
I am pretty sure Cruz did that, and I have been using lithium grease for so long. That was a trick a mechanic taught me when I was like 16, and so many people have not heard about lithium grease or don't know what it is. And I'm really glad to hear you and my other smart friends talking about it. I even won a giant cookie one time because a coworker was like, "That door's unfixable," and I was like, "Stop using WD-40 and put lithium grease on the hinge, and it'll never squeak again." He's like, "That's bullshit. It'll never work." I was like, "I bet you a giant cookie." And in front of the whole office, he was like, "Sure." And then 2 weeks later, he comes into work with a giant cookie. He's like, "I guess you were right."
Absolutely, absolutely. Now, Bob, one thing I just want to say for the rest. You go putting the top shell back on. You've got the RF optical. Try it again before pull that in. One more and put everything back together, and it needs.
That is a very good point. I'm going to put the plastic casing on just so I don't have to balance it, but I'm not going to bolt it in.
That's fine.
Well, with that new replacement Sega CD board and with the 3D printed Sega CD gears that people are working on, it's probably going to be so much easier to work on this stuff, coming very soon. But for up until now, it's just been one of the worst consoles to work on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yes, this. Plug this in, and all right. That gear is probably off then, right?
I can't tell. And then I would assume. Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. When you put that top playback on like that, it can. What happens is when you torque that down, it can very lightly and sort of just plastics, and it can cause. I would recommend the screws all out by that piece gets designed flex the plastic and you're driving to have some problems. Do this. Just try.
I'm backing it out so that there's play, but not floppy. So when you carry it, you're not going to hear ding, 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 but it's also not snug either.
That's exactly right. That's what you.
All right, and let me slide that back over. I realized I probably should have done that on camera instead of just making everybody stare at a black screen. Sorry. How many times have people worked on the Sega CD, got everything back together, and realized they forgot that little thing for the stereo cable?
I've done that 5 times working.
Yeah, or what is it? The piece on the TurboGrafx too, the front switch.
Oh, I've done that a bunch because the PC is exactly the same switch. And I can't tell you how many times I've gotten one of those. Yeah. Well. Damn.
And what's the other one that always gets me was the light pipe on the N64. Access light is flashing, but I don't hear anything spinning. Yeah, you know what I think we might have to do, and I was thinking this before, but I wanted to just try this first. I think we actually have to do the eject, reseat the top thing again, but when I put the RF shield back on, um, don't tighten it down that tight.
Here's something else you can do. Eject it, and eject the drive. Just don't do anything. Let's do this. See if we can eject the drive, and then explain this for Vicky. It's not, but it sounds counterintuitive. But just eject the drive, get ready to press the button to back. When it starts to close, don't rip it out, but give it a little distance as it pulls back in, and let that real. That happens too. Yep. That little bit. Yep. Okay. Good. Now eject it back. Now eject. Now. Yep. Back.
Funny, it says open now. Actually, I think it froze the console, so that's fine. Let me power it off. Power it back on.
That's good. That's fine. That's fine.
Nothing's spinning. Me too. Well, you know what? Worst comes to worst. Absolute worst case scenario. Everything else about this Sega CD is recapped. It's got the BIOS now, like the universal BIOS on there. So everything else about this thing is mint. So even if this drive continues to fail, I could still just discount my friend and have him get Fixel's optical drive emulator for it.
It doesn't. But it doesn't. That's the thing. It doesn't need it. There's nothing wrong. It's a mechanical issue, right? And it needs to be aligned. I don't think it was aligned. What's happening is, okay. So let me just. What's happening is mechanism that push switch isn't Sega CDK. The drive is closed when it's spin up the CD. It's not spinning up because, as far as the Sega CD is concerned, the drive hasn't completely closed because it's not total.
Right.
It's a pain in the dick.
So let me pull these out, and I'm just going to do the same thing as before. I kind of had a feeling about this, but this is not a big deal. So it also, let me double check something here too. Maybe this will be. Right, that. And I switched it back to, nope. I was just going to say I switched it back to camera view, right? But nope. Did that fall in again? Yeah, let me, that was some tweezers.
Yeah, pop it off.
Go.
The damn Sega CD Model 1, it's beautiful. It's really a piece of shit, and that's objective fact. It's just a piece of crap. There are just too many damn moving parts.
Yeah.
Now see what now what's happening now keep that off. Keep that off. Take that disc out of there. And take the disc out. Just put it away. Just put it.
All right.
Now, what I want you to do is I want you to plug your Genesis in just for a second. What I want you to do is plug your Genesis in because I want to see in the problem. Drive, spindle, drive raise up a.
Let me see right now.
Because the spindle's supposed to, is the spindle tilted at an angle pointed down? What happens is that disc closes, the thread and the spindle, it'll raise up, and that it'll level off the bottom of the drive, and it'll pick the CD up. Because the CD, when the drive, it rests way up in the air, and the CD catches on the actual CD. I don't think I think this is engaging.
All right, let me hit power.
Powered on.
Yeah, the spindle came straight up, like instantly.
Okay, good.
That was a good thing to troubleshoot, but that's also really, really, that's really comforting that that worked so quickly like that.
Okay, so, okay. Good. Yep, put that back on. Not too tight, just,
Right.
just tight enough.
Just tight enough so there's no play. All right, and then the same thing with the metal shield.
Now, before you put the metal shield back on there, see if it loads CD.
Well, all right, well, hold on one second. Let me just take a look here. This rear board is already bolted in place by a couple of screws. This entire CD mechanism is bolted in.
Yeah.
So the screws for the RF mechanism are literally just for the RF mechanism. So let's just try not putting it on.
Yeah, that's right, exactly right. But the thing is when you put that RF plating on, that acts as a member that stiffens all that plastic up. And okay, just do it, Daddy.
Yep. Nice.
I think the Mega CD looks a lot better than the CD. That's all.
I grew up with the Sega CD, so there's always going to be a special place in my loins for it. Okay, open. Putting the game in. Close. Scepter, that's already a thing. Fixel is his will work in it. Reading. Is it frozen? Access light's blinking. The D-pad's not moving. Oh boy. No, because now it doesn't read the disc in there. Let me try. Yeah. Yeah, that's messed up. I think we saw it working twice. I'll plug the audio in so people who want to hear the.
In a music CD.
Sure. We just plug this in and then go grab a music CD.
Yeah, just do.
No, I was just going over to grab the CD. I believe this is a new laser, yeah, and I believe it was calibrated. Nothing on the music CD side either.
initially? Can you hear the CD spinning?
The CD isn't spinning, but I could hear the spindle clicking up and down.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Tell me when the tray's open.
Tray's open.
I want you to take your hands, and I don't want you to use software. I want you to, not hard, but with a little force, the tray close.
Sorry, I'm doing the. No, it's not. It's only open an option. There's nothing else that's allowing me.
Okay, Bob. Go get some IPA. Go get a Q-tip.
Wait. The disc just started spinning. Hold on a second. Okay, that's an actual audio CD, so I don't want to play it because I don't want to get a copyright strike. You know all the fake copyright strikes going around? You've seen those,
It's
right?
terrible, man. I think someone can't copy nothing.
Well, I mean, we're getting there, right? So that just spun up. So everything is working. There's just, I think you're right. I think it's that one sensor.
Yeah, I think it's fine. I think that the drive needs to be out. Not the drive, but the tray. The tray needs to be. That.
Isn't there just a way to try to access or to try to I wonder if there's like an external switch we could install that just says like CD in, CD out.
I mean, you could just use like a single pull switch to do that, just to short the contacts together. When you want the CD to be in, you'd flip the switch across, and when you think that there was no CD in it, you would just next row. But I don't think that's really what you need to do. I think that drive tray, I think that disc tray, it needs out and in it. And that's something I can't explain to you over. That's not a difficult job, but that's something that's required.
Skill.
You know.
All right. So the only thing that I will double and triple check here. Is it too? So there always is a little bit of play.
Yeah. See. That. Yeah. Yeah.
Goddamn Sega CDs.
And the reason there's that play there is because that helix gear isn't locking in.
Wait, hold on a minute, Zach. I fixed it. No, I'm kidding. I just showed a picture of the mister. So.
Exactly right.
All right, so that gear.
Bob, take the CD out. Do you see that big black gear back there? Can you access the gear?
Yeah.
Okay, rotate the gear. You're clockwise, counterclockwise.
Okay. Done.
The tray. Okay. Pull the tray out. I'm sorry. Pull the tray out.
Yep.
Okay. Now with the tray out, turn the gear. So this gear does two things. The gear will, if you turn it in one direction, it'll lower the disk drive.
Yeah.
If you turn it in the other direction, it will raise the disk drive.
Counterclockwise raises the disk drive.
Okay, you want to turn it counterclockwise until it can't go counterclockwise anymore, so that it's at its low. But the tray all pulled out all the way, You want to turn that gear. Okay, so that's
So
all the way up.
yeah, I want to look all the way down, right?
Right, that's right.
Okay. Now put it back together.
Now put no, don't close the tray. Don't do anything. Take a Genesis on top of the thing, and then press the eject button or the start button. See if it will self-align and fix it. 70% of the time you can do having to do actual complete align. It's close to begin with. It might be.
Well, considering how many times it worked already today, it's got to be real
really
close.
Yeah, I think you might, or maybe piece out, which is.
Yeah, it's so much harder to get that aligned without a piece of plastic underneath. All right, let's.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, absolutely.
Funny, it's not. The drive's not closing now.
Good. Leave it alone.
No, it's not closing at all. It's like it's stuck on something.
Okay.
Oh, it raised the drive all by itself.
Exactly. Yeah, this thing's way up. So turn the gear back.
All right.
Take it easy. You're fine.
Yeah, man. Get in there.
It will not hurt anything. Oh. Excuse me.
Go. Let's try this again.
And they're hard. There you go.
Okay, it ejected it. Now let me close this up. I'm not getting any video, but I might, let me just power cycle it again. It might have been that I was moving the Genesis around. Son of a bitch.
Okay, I don't know how much of a delay there. See the.
So it's not working, and I'm going to open it up. I'm going to try something I probably shouldn't. I'm going to try to just move that gear. After it closes, I hear a click. Hold on a second.
So what happens is when that drive mechanism moves up, that also hits. Okay, the drive has now been moved up and in. It's a bunch of stupid mechanical switches that are responsible.
Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Very, very, very stupid. There's a very clear reason why the disc wouldn't spin, and this is my own 100% stupidity. Missing the top piece. There's no way the disc could spin without that. Yeah. Funny, I was following your step-by-step instructions. All right, it should be. I mean, as frustrating as this is, and as much as I was really hoping this wouldn't turn into a Sega CD repair stream, of all the problems to have with a Sega CD, it's not only the most common, it's also the least costly to fix overall, because it's not like broken gears and stuff. There should just be alignment, unless the gears are broken, and then it's gonna suck a lot. But we'll see.
No, the gears aren't broken. That's all.
Oh, there. Off. I'm gonna try one more thing, and then I'm just gonna kind of give up on this one. Text my friend and see what he wants to do.
Or is it?
No.
I wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do that to anybody, not even Nick Mueller.
I would.
I would totally do that as a joke and then send him a real one, but
What What is real, Bob? What is real? Dreamcast component cables?
Oh. Oh. Poor Nick. Somewhere in an alternate universe, somebody is connecting their Dreamcast with Dreamcast component cables from HD Retrovision, playing on Woozle's DS consoleizer, and badass consoles plug and play. All right. Yeah. So I'm gonna just call it for this one. Then I'll put it back the way it was. I'll wait for Cruz to get back to me too, just in case he has any extra ideas. But I think this might be best with just an ODE installed. But this sucks. I dropped a lot of money on this, and Cruz spent a lot of time on it, and it was working perfectly. He sent me a video of it when he was done, and I didn't even ship it. I drove down to Brooklyn to pick it up just so this wouldn't happen.
Thing you could try to do is just take some IPA on a tip and clean that laser.
There is absolutely nothing wrong with trying, so why don't I give that a shot?
I mean, it doesn't hurt.
Right. I also have these things, I'm positive you know about them, but in case anybody in the chat hasn't seen them, I still use Q-tips, but tape head cleaner. That too. I got a whole bunch of these super cheap though, so that's what I'm using. IPA. Right.
Rub it long and rub it hard. Be vigorous with it. Don't worry about moving the laser around. You really want to do that.
Yeah, I think I may have put a little too much IPA on there though.
You can't put too much on it. You're not going to hurt anything. If you poured that bottle on top of it.
Yeah, it's non-conductive. I just have to wait for it to dry.
Is it 91 or 99%?
99.9.
Okay, that's one. Okay.
Already dried.
No moving part. Electronic very simple, and there's very little to do.
Yeah.
But I love the.
I mean, I have a feeling my friend's just going to be like, you know what? Sell the drive to somebody who needs it. Give me an optical drive emulator in this thing.
Is there going to be an optical drive emulator that's going to be available?
Yeah, Fixel's ODE will work in many consoles, and while he hasn't tested the Sega CD one yet for this functionality, it should work alongside the original drive. So if you have a working drive and you just want to stop using it because, as you can see here, you know that it's going to eventually stop working soon anyway, you could then very simply just use whatever discs you want when you really want that original experience, but for the most part, you could just use optical drive emulation. But does
Terra Onion's Mega SD or whatever it's called good job at emulating the Sega CD, or is it really finicky?
So whenever you talk about that, there's always people that prefer Crix's more or prefer the other one, and for non-drama reasons. There's a few things that one does that the other one does better, and vice versa. But generally speaking, they're both excellent. And you know, the problems feel a little bit more nitpicky sometimes. I don't mean that to be rude. I'm just saying, like, you know, there are certain things like, you know, the voltage is off. Don't use it or you'll kill your console. And there's certain things where it's like, yeah, you know, it's not that bad. It works still. I can play my games. So.
Okay.
You know what's funny is there's always somebody in the comments. It's like once a week, somebody will jump in and be like, Crix is a scumbag. I spent all this money on this thing and one game doesn't work. It's like,
yeah,
did you read that comment before you wrote it? Did you think about that maybe? Because What you just said was you got a lot for your money.
Or, Mike G's a scumbag because he came out with the RetroTink 5X in 2020, and it's 2023 now. Now I'm forced to buy the 4K.
Oh man, I got so many of those on the Tink 5X launch video. Like, oh, so my OSSC is just shit now? No, the OSSC is equally as awesome and lag-free as it was yesterday. Just because a new product's out doesn't suddenly mean your OSSC has got a ton of lag and you should throw it in the garbage. It just means you have another option. Do you get this mad when you buy a new car and the next year a new car comes out?
Well, if you go to those toxic places on the internet, like, I don't know, shmups.com, you look at them, a lot of those people seem to think that it's just a matter of selling things. I don't know. I think people should just be happy with cares.
Yeah. I mean, I've really learned over the years. I never let forum trolls get to me, but at the same time, I would take what they said sometimes a little too seriously until you start really thinking about who is complaining about these things, and you just start realizing like, oh, okay, they have a lot going on in their life. It's probably kind of sad. Let's just let them be mad at me, because if that makes your life a little bit better, being mad at an imaginary person on the internet, then by all means, be mad at me. That's fine. How funny would it be if I bolt all this thing together and it just works now?
I would say that you're welcome.
All right. Well, after this, if anybody has any questions, fire away now, because whether this works or not, I'm going to have to call it after this. I was planning on doing about a 90-minute stream.
I was going to ask you about the HD64 that, Postman's deal.
Yes.
Is the 250, are the video modes effectively lag free?
No, they've 2 frames, I think, when I did the test. It wasn't terrible, and it wasn't as bad as a pound cable, and you get a very beautiful digital signal. So it's not for people, like, it's not for Smash players, unless you are somebody who wants to game on a CRT and stream a beautiful, crispy HDMI stream. And in that case, it's probably the perfect device because it'll save a tiny bit of money.
Does it also have a latency penalty?
I believe so, yes. I'm not really sure. I talked to Postman about it, and he said he was looking at different ways to reduce that latency, but I don't really know.
Is it really?
Didn't that have 1 frame of lag? I can't remember. I honestly can't.
I think it had like 20 or 22 odd milliseconds of latency. Very comparable to the Meister.
Then I guess it would be about the same then. All right. Fingers crossed. Okay. Nah. Is there any merit to like putting this thing on its side or back, just like the original PlayStation?
You could try it, certainly. You could give it a shot.
Ed wanted to know about the OSSC Pro's output. I tested it. And the DeX is basically the exact same as the OSSC Pro was in its prototype state. That was just canceled indefinitely because the part shortage just absolutely. Not only was Marcus not able to get parts, but at the same time, it was like the parts were going up in price, and then the Tink 4K was announced, and Marcus was just like, why am I going to waste time on this? There's other good products out there. So I completely understand that. Uh-oh. Guess what just happened? Take one guess what just happened, Zach. I think you already know, but just take a guess.
I don't know.
I tipped the thing on its side to try to, where is this? Not my camera not plugged back in? Come on, camera. No, I want to show you. I want to make sure the camera's working though. Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna just open this up so you all could enjoy a good laugh with me on this one, because I did not think this through fully. Nothing's damaged or anything, but this is gonna be an embarrassing one. So yeah, Ed, the if you're interested in that, like if you already have a D10 and you wanted to check out what that would be like, you could get the DEX. Just search RetroRGB for DEX, DEXX, and it'll be essentially that. And it was excellent. It's everything that Marcus said it would be, up to 1440p. So
Well, I'm thinking about the best cost signal conforming N64 mod. If you don't care about advanced features, you just want to. I think the 64 HD is probably one of the best cost solutions for that.
I think it's very good. I just think, and I mean this with love and respect. I am the nerd that loves all the crazy stuff that most people are like, why would anybody want that? Like, I'm that guy. So when I say this, I just mean it to be polite and realistic. I just think most people need to think about their budget and their needs before buying any of that stuff. Because if your total situation is a bunch of different consoles, then having analog output out of all of them is going to save you so much money, and then maybe upgrade to HDMI later. But in the situation of like, I love the GameCube, I love, N64, and that's it up until, PlayStation 3 and beyond. Yeah, I mean, the N64 digital is really awesome. It's fast. I'm pretty sure it's lower latency. Yeah, y'all like that? When I had it on its side, the game fell in.
Because the drive has
No scratches. Still a brand new disc, basically. All right.
Can I
And
ask you a question?
yeah,
What do you think about all this Linus the crap controversy? I haven't watched his videos in about 10 years. What about exactly? Do you follow any of that?
no, not at all. I don't follow any of it, and it's just, it's not my jam. I don't mean any disrespect.
I just don't care. I was just wondering if, like, had any data on it.
No, I don't. But the one thing that I do kind of have a thought on is I don't know. There was supposedly a person who had a very bad experience working there, and I don't know anything about this person. So before I say this, just know that I'm talking about any person in general, not this exact person. But they basically had a whole lot of complaints about the company that sounded very valid, very valid, and then complained about a bunch of stuff, and then they seemed genuinely disappointed, and I do believe that person. But I've worked for companies before where some of the people there had the same complaints about their last job, but they turned out to just be really terrible workers, complaining about stuff. So I always side with the underdog, like initially in a situation like that, but I also, like, I can't help but remember all those times people were like, oh yeah, that company was crap, my boss was horrible, said all these bad things to me, and then like a week later, I'm seeing this person say the same thing about our boss, who's nothing but polite and respectful and even and honest. So I always, I always side with the underdog first, but I always keep that in my mind. Like, I wonder how bad it actually is. And I've also seen two people who are awesome people, who are good workers, who turn into that when you put them in the same room together. So maybe this was an awesome employee, and maybe Linus wasn't that bad to work for, but you put those two together and they're a bad match. I've definitely seen that before, quite a few times.
Yeah, sure.
All right, let me make sure the tray actually closes because I didn't realign it, and then I'll do one more test just to confirm that it's still broken, and I'll shut it off.
Your friend is going to be so mad at you for ruining immaculate Model 1 Sega CD.
Yeah.
You have to turn it off because the difference between when it gets confused when it's maybe you might have to power cycle it.
Okay, so it opened, and okay, so it did actually close all the way.
Good.
So let me throw the last screws in, and then see if it actually works. And if not, we'll definitely end the stream. Yeah, but by the way, if I don't have any retro PCs at all, but I do have access to a bunch of arcade boards, and the Tink 4K worked perfectly on almost all arcade boards. I don't want to say which ones it didn't, because Mike is working on adding that functionality, but I have 0 retro PCs. So
Are you going to go downtown? Are you going to go downtown to delete all of their beloved boards? Okay.
I already did. I already did. Shout out to Cruz, shout out to Tech. Huh?
You know what I'm doing right now, don't you? Listen.
Yes, Zach, I know what you're doing. Move along, move along. But what I was saying was, if anybody wants, if anybody's nervous about old PC support, I can't speak for it because I don't have it. Maybe the Tink 4K is going to be fine. Maybe it's going to take a couple firmware updates. I don't know. But if you're concerned and you want a solution now that goes to a higher resolution than the original OSSC, the DeX should be the exact thing that you're looking for.
How's it going? How's it going as far as using the Tink 4K as an external frame insertion module? How's that working out?
Oh, dude, I don't watch movies anymore, 1080p movies, unless I'm watching it through this with its 96 hertz mode. It does emulation of film BFI. So when you're watching it, like when I'm watching it on my projector, DLP projectors don't have BFI built in because you lose a little bit of color data when you do that, just inherently to the way they work. It's not a Tink thing, but when you use the Tink to add it, the best way I could describe it is I was watching a very old movie with just tons of film grain, and it looked like noise. It didn't look like film grain. And then I set the Tink to the 1080p 96 output, and was able to get it to look basically just like a film. Like the film grain didn't look like interference anymore. It looked like film grain.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not. Yeah. So this thing. So we're at the same spot that we were. I also realized I put.
Close it a bunch of times and see what happens. So, but would you say that and it's been done in a way, I understand, to where you're not going to burn itself?
So it's got 2 things. The first thing it has is it's got LCD saver mode on by default. So what I mean by that is BFI could ruin LCD panels. So by default, Mike has a mode on that it doesn't look as good, but it's completely safe to use with your panel. Whereas if you have an OLED or a DLP projector, you could turn that mode off to get slightly better BFI through it.
Amazing.
Yeah, I thought so. I was thoroughly impressed. But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that. Like for the maximum resolution that it'll accept is 1080p 60, so you can't route 4K Blu-rays through it even in a pass-through mode. So I've been using an HDMI matrix switch, so everything that's 4K goes just directly to my TV or projector, and then everything that's 1080p goes to the Tink first. And there has not been a 1080p movie that I have, like a 1080p 24 that I haven't ended up just using BFI mode. It's really cool.
That's really amazing.
What it did actually make me recognize too is that a lot of streaming services, some will output 1080p 24, but others won't. So it's kind of interesting to see.
Yeah, that is interesting.
So even though I pay for some services,
are they better about BP, or is that still like
TVs?
Yeah, televisions, HDMI.
Yeah, you'll actually get better support than over the analog inputs. I know. All right, final test just to verify a failure.
I think it's going to.
Yeah, also, Ed brought up a good point in the chat. Sometimes some people just don't like BFI.
My experience with it, I didn't like it because the being annoying.
So
This was on a this and though. Imagine pretty shitty TV to begin with. Secondly, panel.
So one of the things that I did absolutely notice when I first started doing BFI testing was actually over at Destiny's house. She had a CX OLED, and I think we were watching, like, we threw on Karate Kid because I wanted an old movie with film grain, and I wanted to see if that was going to affect it, and it didn't. And then so now fast forward to today, where, or, the past 6 months when I've been testing this, it did, and that's when I realized whatever app we were using was playing the movie with 3:2 pull down in 1080p in 60 hertz. So that's why it appeared to not do anything. So that's why when you actually have it at its original resolution, it made the bigger difference.
I see. I couldn't hit any further. Bad about it.
Oh, dude, I very much appreciate you taking the time to join us on stream impromptu like this. I think I've just gotten used to whenever I start selling stuff, one of the things that I sell is going to just not work right before I do. So I will figure out what's going to be best for my friend for this one. But the very, very good news is that everything about this is recapped and refurbished. So the worst thing is I buy an optical drive emulator and throw that in there too. But just for people, just as an aside, like, well, why would you care if you have a Mega EverDrive Pro? Why would you even want one? Because the Sega CD's chips do a lot. And Vic, in the latest release of Doom 32X Resurrection, kind of shows that as well. So these chips themselves are like, it's like the 32X but below. It doesn't make it 32-bit. So people might really want that completely original Sega CD experience, but just without having to dick around with a drive tray like this. So that's why people might want to deal with it. Plus, I really just like the way this looks. I know so many people disagree. I know so many people mock the Tower of Power. I don't like the 32X mushroom turd, but I love the way these look. I just think it's so cool. All right, well, thank you, Zach, for being fucking awesome. I really appreciate you jumping on, trying to help. You have Zach has an interesting reputation online, but this is what he's really like. He stops what he's doing to help people, and for some reason, some people hate you for that. I never really understood it, but
It's just it's the. I think Voltar's they think Voltar's Zach and Zach, but it's the other percent.
Yep.
They're ridiculous. Anywho.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks to everybody in the chat. Thanks for the super chats. I'm sorry this turned into a Sega CD repair stream, but I will get out of here now and see you all soon.